emergency. All right. Sorry if that blasted your eardrums. You might have to go to the doctors. You might have to go to the emergency room. But you're here and bringing the emergency room to you. This is ER. And we've got a lashing earlier from some of us, our other cast members of us that haven't seen it much, that of how
it was
amazing,
not a lashing. How dare
it's a
you?
staple that, and I agree with all of that stuff, and we know it, and that's why we're reading it. And as you heard from Heather right now, she is one of our regulars that proposed that we read this script and this episode and this series. So we thank her for proposing that and submitting that. And we'll let you get to know all of our cast reading today. We'll start with you, Heather.
Hello, my name is Heather Lee Cameron. I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I'm an independent filmmaker, and I'm a family history research student. I am going to be playing Dr. John Carter. And I've been watching this and a fan of this since I was a teenager. So I hope I can bring it and respect to the script and respect to the character and respect to Noah Wiley. This is a beautiful show, an epic show. I love it with all my heart. And I'm so glad that we're doing this today because ER is a golden show. It will always be a golden show.
Yes. Thank you for all of that. And next, Ari, please tell us.
Hi, I'm Ari. I'm a voice actor and an amateur film editor. I think I worded that properly. Anyway, I'll be playing the parts of Leo, Dubar, and Krakowski. I've never seen this show, so this will be interesting.
Yeah, I did watch this episode just the other day, and it is intense. So we'll see how much that is on the page. And next, we'd like to welcome, for the first time on Table Reads Tuesday, Shaki.
Hi, nice to meet you and nice to meet everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, so I am Shaki Wallace. I am a voice actor, podcast host, a writer, and an engineer. Yeah.
Wow. That's very on the extremes of things. That's awesome.
Very much.
That's awesome. Well-rounded, so that we all can be more than one thing. And next we have Petra. Who is muted?
I was muted. I'm sorry. Hello, Petra Stedman, writer, actress, roundabout goofball, huge Kingston fan. So I'm actually a little annoyed with myself that I have had the week that I had, that I completely spaced that she started at the beginning of season 4, and this is mid-season 4. So there would have been Corday in this episode, but it's okay. I'm perfectly content to be the voice of ER God, which I can change if it offends anybody's delicate sensibilities to just be hospital announcements, if you would prefer. That's fine. No, basically grew up watching this. I didn't watch like the first season, and then I started watching it, and I was like, oh, George Clooney's cute. And then season 3 hit and really hooked me, and then season 4 came along, and there was this stunning British goddess who I just fell really, really hard for and started watching because of her. And yes, there were several amazing actors and characters in the show, and I really did like it, grew up with it, and fascinated to tap back into it because it's been a while since I've seen it. So
excellent. It's great to have people who love the show so much here. You must have been one of the only persons who thought George Clooney was cute, though. I don't know. I haven't heard anyone else.
I was like the Golden Girls. I mean, that's how far back that goes. So
yeah.
What was that?
Well, I shouldn't have opened up that can of worms. I should learn to save those for the after discussion.
Jacob, I was more into John Carter and Luka Kovac, to be fair, not George Clooney.
Oh, to be fair, Goran Viznak, delicious, but I mean,
delicious.
To be fair, we'll move on to Kat next, who looks amazing.
Yes.
So, Kat.
Hi, my name is Kat. Kat Wilson, and I have worn many hats, including caving hats. I used to teach at a natural resource park with a cave, and I've been a teacher. I've been many things. Currently, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm just excited to be here.
Ooh, so excited for you to come and bring all that expertise with you. And so next we have Angel.
Hi, I'm Angel Peterson. I'm going to be reading for fix my pronunciation if you need to. Ricci, Hathaway, Bertha, and Romano. I don't know how to pronounce it, so. And
All
I
right.
am not a watcher of the show. Maybe I will be after this, because I did get to see some of the script when I was casting it with Jacob, and looks pretty good, pretty
I'm
intense.
actually only giggling because you're Romano, and I'm like, you're fairly far removed from that character, so this is gonna be good.
Oh yeah? Tell me, what is
Romano is the devil incarnate.
Oh,
Romano is the
perfect.
devil
You know what?
incarnate.
Angel, devil.
Nicer character than, and the man in real life is a gem of a human being. He's a tiny little homunculus of perfection and sweetness. He's very nice, but yeah, his character was such a raging tool on the show.
Perfect. Okay, that's excellent.
That's so sweet of you to say that about me.
She's playing
Well,
Romano, not you.
No, that you were saying that I was a tiny, cute little human being.
No, you were a strapping, virile,
You do have a halo.
whiskered man of monolithic talent.
Okay, all right.
It's the Wolverine over there, but we'll
Oh my
save this for
God.
the after discussion. You guys to
I
tell us
better
about the
we
real
can't see
actors
the
and
faces.
characters. Because next we have, Clint, you were next.
Sweet. Hey, Clint, I'll be reading Jerry, Malik, and Morris. I am just kind of hanging out in the meantime, just studying and doing stuff. So I actually stole this from one of the last times that I was in the hospital. Almost died. But yeah.
We're glad
Stop
you
doing
did
that.
it.
Yeah.
Live,
Next,
keep living.
yes. Next we have Aaron.
Hey, Erin Lillis. I am a voice actress. I watched ER when it was on the first time. Like the first few seasons. I know I've seen this episode because I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, that's the one where they're in the digging and the falling and I remember that in the elevator. Oh yeah, that one. But the character I cared about was Weaver, because she was the later in life lesbian. Woo! Lesbian storylines for the win. And now moving on.
Yes.
Well, that's true. She was a lesbian later in life because she was married to a man named Mungisi in the earlier seasons who came to visit her for Christmas.
All right. And please bring that out in the after discussion. But till we get there, we're going to have Roger introduced.
Hey, you all. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
We hear you.
Actor, film, TV actor, writer, director, singer, and musician. I'm reading Ross, and I was a big fan of the show when it first came out. It was a big held a torch for it, and Noah Wiley's characters was one of my favorites, amongst many others, and there's been a whole turnover throughout the years, but this is the original cast, I believe. I don't know if I saw this.
So, all right. Cool. And next we have
Roger, this isn't fully the original cast because Susan Lewis has departed by this point. So sorry for being a know-it-all.
We appreciate the insights and the excitement and the passion. And so that's great. Thank you. So Roxanne.
Hi, Roxanne Armstrong. I am an actor here in Central Alberta, and today I will be reading Corday, who is very proper English, and I will attempt not to brutalize it.
Oh, we appreciate the effort. I'm sure it'll be tons better than I could ever do. And next we have Vicky.
Hello, I'm Vicky Dykes. I'm from Central Alberta, and I'm an actress and an aspiring voice actress. Tonight, I will be reading Jeannie, Sophie, Woman, and Pickman, Doris Pickman.
Excellent. And that is the cast. And if you're here, do the YouTube stuff, like, share, subscribe. But we shall get started. We'll share the script for us to read right now. Sharing the screen to the script. Here it is. And we'll let the voice of God hospital announcement, Petra Stedman, take it away.
Exodus, written by Walon Green and Joe Sachs, directed by Christopher Chulek. Co-producers Penny Adams, Jack Orman, Wendy Spence Rosado. Producers Neil Baird, Lance Gentile. Co-executive producers Christopher Chulak, Walon Green. Executive producers Michael Crichton, Carol Flint, John Wells, and Lydia Woodard. Fourth draft for educational purposes only. So you guys better learn something from this. There's a quiz after we wrap, okay?
Rats.
Test will be at 10:45.
Exactly. Exodus teaser, fade in. Exterior, Hathaway's house, Chicago, day 7 a.m. Ross's car pulls up in front of Hathaway's house and stops. Ross's car. Ross sits there for a beat, looking towards the front porch. There's no movement, no sign of life. After a moment of consideration, he gets out and heads for the porch, scooping up the morning paper on his way. At the front door, Ross knocks, but without his usual élan. No response. He waits, listens, then knocks again. No answer. No sound from inside. He leans the newspaper against the base of the door and walks back to his car. Time cut to exterior chemical warehouse, Chicago, day. A heaving cloud of smoke belches from a warehouse fire. The ambulance screeches to a halt at the front entrance, joining a lineup of 3 other paramedic rigs. Corday and the paramedics scramble out with their gear.
Sure picked the right day for your first ride along.
So where do we begin?
Ricci, a fire captain, approaches from the entranceway and waves them in.
Come on, through here.
They follow into the interior-exterior chemical warehouse entranceway, Chicago, day.
What do you got?
20 to 30 victims, mostly minor, lacerations, burns, 1 fatality.
Corday reacts as they clear the entranceway into the exterior chemical warehouse, courtyard, Chicago, day. 3 engine companies battle the blaze. 10 paramedics work in a triage area, sorting out 20 wounded plant workers, distinct in orange coveralls. Corday quickly surveys the scene, the fire and the smoldering ruins demolished by an explosion.
We've set up triage over here. There.
Dewey Savell, a young fireman covered with dust and dirt, approaches.
We're all shored up. I need to take a paramedic down.
There's a guy trapped under the rubble.
I'll go. I'm a trauma surgeon, County General, Dr. Corday.
You have any experience with confined space rescue?
No, but take me to him. I'll see what I can do.
Ricci looks at Dewey. Dewey nods.
Okay, take her in.
Time cut to collapsed basement lit only by work lights. Dewey and Corday, now wearing hard hats and headlamps, work their way down past firemen who are shoring up the rubble. Dewey shines a light down into a jumble of concrete blocks and sections of fallen walls.
The first section's pretty vertical, maybe 8 to 10 feet. Better go head first.
Corday looks down at the hole.
Head first.
Yep. Once you're in there, there's no room to turn around. The walls are very uneven, so it's easy to brace yourself with your hands. Ever do any rock climbing?
Afraid I haven't. Will I actually fit in there?
Tight at first, but near the victim it opens up. You claustrophobic?
Not really.
Best if you go first. If something goes wrong, I can drag you out.
Corday screws up her courage.
Yes, well, let's get on with it.
She gets onto all fours and climbs headfirst down into the hole. A 45-degree vertical shaft, day. Corday struggles down headfirst. Dewey is behind her. She braces against the broken brick and concrete debris that forms the walls.
That's right. You're doing fine.
Corday wiggles through a tight spot. There's a grinding sound as the heavy rock shifts around her. Her breath starts to come more quickly. She breaks a sweat. Where the shaft bends, she seems to be stuck.
Stuck.
It's just a bend. Try it on your side.
Struggling with the confinement and fighting panic, Corday turns on her side and pulls herself along, clawing at the rock. She makes it past the bend and the shaft soon becomes more level and wider. 4x4 shoring posts can be seen supporting the large slabs overhead.
It's a little more open here.
Yeah, not far now. Be careful. Don't bump against the 4x4s. That's all that's holding this place up.
Shuffling on her stomach, knees, and elbows, the way ahead is lit by Corday's headlamp. Water runs down out of a broken pipe, spilling over her hard hat and soaking her clothes. She pushes a piece of twisted rebar so she can pass a tight spot. Stopping for a beat, Corday listens. Then, silencing her own breathing, she hears painful, labored breaths ahead. She moves on a few feet and...
I can see him. We're on the way.
Ahead in her light, moving POV Corday. The passageway slants down to an area that is slightly more open. A man's head and left shoulder can be seen projecting at an angle from under a large section of wall, concrete dust completely covering his face. He appears dead. Angel Corday. Hi, Angel. She crawls to him. Dewey can approach alongside, but the area is very tight. Numerous jacks and shoring pieces surround the victim.
We jacked as far as we could. All this stuff is unstable.
The man, Leo Leipziger, is a nervous and understandably terrified accountant, opens his eyes.
Sir, are you awake?
Corday checks his neck pulse, pupils. He looks at Corday, his voice little more than a whisper.
Get me out. It hurts.
Yes, I'll give you something for the pain. We're going to get you out.
Don't leave me.
We won't. We won't leave you, I promise.
Corday turns and speaks to Dewey.
I need the drug bag. I'm going to start a line.
In her haste, she turns to Dewey, elbow striking a shoring post, knocking it down. Bricks fall. One strikes Corday near the eye. Then a heavy trembling, accompanied by deep grinding sounds as the whole mass above them shifts and resettles. A powdery dust falls. She freezes.
Oh, God.
Off Corday, cut to opening titles. End of teaser. Act 1, opening titles, fade in, cafeteria day, 2:50 p.m. Delamico fills 2 styrofoam coffee cups as Weaver pushes a forearm close under Delamico's nose.
Delamico, I'm sorry, it's Delamico.
It's been a while, Heather. You're going to have to calm down. Delamico sniffs.
Lilac?
It's called Spring Rain.
Nice.
You don't think it's too young for me?
No, my mom wears something just like that.
Not exactly what Weaver wanted to hear. She looks at her watch.
I don't have time to sit down. I'm on 3 to 11. How's it been?
Got busy after lunch. Doyle's still out with the flu. What have you heard from Mark?
He was going to try to get a flight back today or tomorrow.
They reach the cashier, Weaver ahead of Delamico.
1 coffee?
As they pay, Carter appears.
Carter, how's your off-though rotation going?
Only a week to go. A long week.
Maybe you can help me. I've been getting headaches from reviewing the hospital financial reports, and I think I need new reading glasses. Can you operate the phoropters, right? Sorry.
Sure, come on up. I'll check you out,
Okay.
give you a new prescription.
Cut to ambulance entrance day. Pickman enters with Jack Arterburn, business suit. Jeannie greets them by the admit desk. Jerry's on the phone.
Jack Arterburn, 52, fainted at a breakfast meeting at Stanton Savings and Loan. A&O on our arrival. Vitals normal, no ectopy on the scope. Started a line for kicks. Oh, Mr. Arterburn, did you have any chest pain?
Jeannie listens to the lungs. No, I was just a little dizzy. My secretary overreacted. Are you a doctor?
I'm a physician assistant.
Jeannie and Arterburn move off. But I'll be seeing a real doctor. Jerry hangs up the phone as Weaver approaches.
Jerry.
Dr. Weaver, County Dispatch is calling. There's an explosion and fire at the chemical warehouse. They want us to send 6 miners, or burns and lacerations.
No problem.
Cut to the shaft under the rubble day. Dewey reshores the support as Corday takes a large intravenous needle and prepares to insert it into Leo's neck.
It'll be sting, Leo.
She drives in the needle. He groans with pain. Corday gets a flash of blood and attaches the catheter to a bag of saline and talks.
Sorry, only place to put an IV.
Get me out of here.
We're working on that. Now hang on a bit. I'll give you some morphine, make you feel much better.
She injects the morphine into the line, speaking to Dewey over her shoulder.
Dewey, can you raise up the saline?
Dewey takes the bag and hangs it just above their head on a piece of projecting rebar. Corday speaks with Dewey and whispers.
He's got a good pulse, probably some broken ribs, and he can wiggle his toes, but I can't assess the right arm. It's pinned at his shoulder. If we could just raise the concrete just another inch or two.
Any movement could bring all this down.
Just an inch, then we might free it and I won't have to amputate.
No, please don't cut off my arm.
We're trying to save it, Leo. Going to lift that slab. What else can we do? We've got to get him out.
Dewey looks around.
All right, but we're going to need some more shoring down here before I try anything.
I'll need a bone saw.
No, don't do it, please.
Only as a last resort, Leo. But what about something to reduce the friction?
Grease?
Too thick. Something we can pour, like vegetable oil.
We've got motor oil.
Yes, motor oil. Lots of it. We'll get you slick as an eel and slide you out.
Cut to eye clinic day. Carter gives an eyeglass prescription exam to Ida Mellinger, 75. Ida looks through the multi-lens phoropter machine, reading a projected eye chart on the wall.
I-P-O-T.
Carter looks over a drawer full of 100 lenses and pulls out 2 new ones.
Very good, Mrs. Mellinger. Now, tell me which is clearer, number 1 or number 2?
Number 2 is very dark.
Try again. Number 1 or number 2?
It's black. I can't see through this.
Carter pulls out lens 2 and holds it up to the light. It's completely opaque.
Yes, this is probably a little more tint than you need. Just give me a minute.
As Carter searches through the drawer of lenses, ophthalmology resident Alan Brackup appears at the door.
Everything okay?
Not really. I think your student could use a little help.
Carter, with 3 lenses in each hand, looks at Brackup.
Why don't you go finish up, Dr. Carter? There's a glaucoma patient in the ER that needs a consult.
Right.
Carter fumbles to put the lenses back in their proper place. Brackup steps forward and takes the lenses from Carter. Off Carter, relieved. Cut to ambulance entrance day. Olvis comes through the doors with Glenn Kurkowski, 30s, on a backboard in a gurney. 2 walking wounded chemical plant workers in uniform follow. There are Spinetti and Laszlo with burns and lacerations on the arms. Delamico is there to meet them as they move down the hall at a moderate pace.
Glenn Kurkowski, 32, working in the chemical warehouse. Obvious right tib-fib fracture, starting to complain of abdominal pain. BP 130 over 75, pulse 90, 2 IVs in the field. What about these guys? Minor burns and lacerations from glass.
Benton joins them.
Anything for me?
Blunt trauma, abdominal pain.
T1 open?
Yeah, get them started. I'll take the others.
Are you taking any medications?
No, nothing. I never get sick.
As Benton enters the trauma hallway day, we see Weaver looking at an EKG. Jerry approaches with a chart and a phone message.
Message from Dr.
Anspa.
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 He's giving a lecture in Virgin Gorda. How's about that? Phone number at the hotel?
Is that Mr. Artbird's chart?
Yeah, and check this out. Blue Cross, not the HMO, not the PPO, traditional indemnity plan. Gold.
Jerry, we treat everyone the same.
I'm just thinking about our budget deficit.
Weaver takes the chart and heads into Trauma 2 day. Arta Burns hooked up to all the monitors.
Mr. Arterburn, I have some preliminary results I'd like to.
Look, if there's any cause for concern, I'd rather go see my own doctor.
You have some changes on your EKG that suggest you may have a small heart attack. It's not safe for you to leave.
A heart attack?
We should check a blood test to be sure there is no heart muscle damage. That takes a couple of hours. If that's normal, we can arrange for a treadmill heart scan.
Look, would you call my doctor, Greg Fonero on Chestnut? I want his opinion on whatever you're doing.
I'll call him once we have the blood test results. Don't worry. I think you'll find that we give the highest standard of care.
Cut to exam 3. In a darkened room, rainbows dance around the walls as Dr. George Bickel, 75, fiddles with the headlamp and a pocket prism. Carter stops at the doorway, speechless, as a rainbow crosses his face.
You must be the eye specialist.
Right, Dr. Carter.
Dr. George walks over and extends a hand.
George Bickle, call me Dr. George. Imagine the first guy that took a boring beam of white light and refracted it into all this beauty. Glorious.
Off Carter, not so sure about this guy. Cut to the shaft under the rubble, Day. Dewey is squeezed next to Corday, carefully jacking and shoring up the slab. Corday, her face now covered with grime, opens a quart of oil. A harness is draped around Leo.
All right, ready for your last quart?
As Corday pours, Dewey faces back from the jacks.
I raised it an inch. That's it.
Corday nods. Dewey joins her at the harness straps.
1, 2, 3.
They pull and strain, lifting Leo a little, about 4 inches. Leo groans.
Check his arm.
Dewey keeps Sorry. Dewey keeps tension on the harness while Corday checks the arm.
You got room?
No, you said you wouldn't amputate.
It's all right, Leo. It won't come to that. Another good tug and we can get you out whole.
She moves back to Dewey.
Ready? And pull!
They tug again, but Leo won't budge.
We don't have the leverage to lift him out of here. We need to come along.
A what?
It's a kind of winch that helps.
Kaboom! His words are cut off by a distant heavy explosion. The area shakes. Small rocks and dirt rain down on them as they freeze in terrified silence, expecting to be buried alive. When it's over, Corday looks up.
What was that?
I don't know.
He slowly takes his walkie-talkie as if the mere act of speaking into it might trigger a rockfall.
Do we hear? What the hell is going on?
There's a beat of silence.
Do we hear? Do you copy?
Copy. We had an explosion in the chemical tank area. Abort your rescue and get out.
No, don't leave me.
Don't leave. He's almost out.
Dewey, this is Ricci. Abort now. We have a major toxic spill.
Acknowledged. The captain says out.
No. Have them send
Bill.
that thing you need so we can pull him out.
Cap won't let anyone come down here.
Then you go get it.
Leave you?
Yes, he'll have to let you come back if I'm down here.
Dewey looks at her. This lady's got some kind of guts.
Go on. I'm not leaving him. But please, hurry.
Okay. I'll be back.
Dewey begins crawling away swiftly. Within seconds, his light and all sense of his presence is gone. There's a low, distant rumble, and the trickle of dust falls.
We're going to die down here.
It's okay, Leo. Just one more piece of equipment and we'll have you out.
Corday looks around, never having felt more alone. Cut to main hall day. Ross finishes a chart at the admit desk. Hathaway approaches from the direction of curtain 3.
Doug, I got an 8-year-old with an altered mental status, short of breath. Babysitter called 911.
They walk towards curtain 3.
Swung by your house this morning,
I had to come in early for a meeting.
or 7 a.m.
Are you monitoring me?
I was offering you a ride.
They walk into curtain 3 day. Ross steps up to the bedside of Sophie Traeger, age 8, sitting up, short of breath despite nasal oxygen. Nervous babysitter Donna hovers.
Sophie, this is Dr. Ross.
Hi, Sophie.
Hi.
Ross listens to her chest as he talks with Donna.
How long has she been sick?
Her mom said she's had diarrhea for a couple of days.
She pulls out a jar of bee pollen and a box of raspberry tea.
She told me to give her raspberry tea and a spoonful of bee pollen every 4 hours.
How are you doing, Sophie?
I have to practice the piano.
She's altered. When did that start?
I found her on the bathroom floor. She had a bowel movement. There was blood in it. I couldn't wake her up.
Go get an ABG, CBC, Chem 20, chest X-ray.
IV of saline?
No, just a hep block.
Is she all right?
Can you reach your parents?
I tried beeping her mom.
Try again.
Cut to exam 3 day. Carter examines Dr. George with the slit lamp.
Maybe if you had gone to a public school, you would have seen one of these my science assembly programs. Started them right after the war.
Try to keep your eyes still. Look at my earlobe.
I was on TV once in 1950. Thought I was going to make a career of it. Then that son of a brat, Mr. Wizard, came along in 51. I was dead in the water.
Looks good. I need to check your eye pressures with the Tonopin, Mr. Bickel.
Carter preps the Tonopin.
George, Dr. George. Whoa, look at that beauty. Used to use the big machine with the ear puff.
I'll put a numbing drop in your eye and then we'll measure the pressure.
Solid state microcircuitry, but all in all, just a simple pressure transducer.
You push the button and it works.
Don't you want to know how? I could build one out of an ink jar and a finger cot and a swizzle stick.
Carter taps the pen to his eyeball. It beeps.
35. Pressure's up a bit.
Carter taps the other eye.
32. I'd like to discuss this with another ophthalmologist. Be right back.
No hurry.
Cut to the shaft under the rubble. Corday and Dewey, now with respirators, frantically crank the lever with a come-along winch attached to Leo's harness. Leo's body inches out of the hole. Suddenly, progress stops and Leo groans in pain.
No, my leg. I'm caught.
Corday crawls to him and looks under the slab with her headlamp. POV Corday. Leo's foot can be seen wedged between two rocks. She turns back to Dewey, who keeps tension on the harness.
Foot's caught. I'm going to try and free it.
Corday sticks her hand under the slab and reaches. Her fingers are just a tiny bit short of the foot.
Can you reach it? Can you get it loose?
She scrambles back and takes the handle of a jack.
What are you doing? Don't touch that.
A tiny bit more.
Corday moves the handle up and down a few times and the rock moves slightly.
No, get your hand off the jack.
Dewey watches her frozen.
One more.
She pumps and a shoring piece falls away. Ignoring it, she crawls in under the slab.
Oh my God.
The shoring's down. Get out of there.
Corday's hand finds Leo's foot and frees it from the rocks. She backs out.
He's free.
Dewey works the lever of the come-along. Corday puts her arms around Leo's shoulders. Together, they pull him from the hole. As he's nearly clear, Leo's body knocks out another shoring piece. The slab groans. As his feet clear, the slab collapses. The area fills with dust, obliterating everyone from view. Seconds pass, and only coughing betrays their survival. The dust clears. Corday and Dewey rub dirt from their eyes and pull Leo to a backboard. As Corday works frantically to strap him down, Dewey speaks into the walkie.
We're coming out.
Cut to curtain 3 day. Ross holds Sophie's hand and listens to her lungs as Hathaway enters with lab results. Sophie's breathing is still very labored. She's on a high flow oxygen mask.
Doesn't look good. Creatinine 6.8, potassium 7.3.
Acute renal failure, insulin, glucose, and Kexlate.
What's shutting down her kidneys?
Blood diarrhea could be E. coli. Push 2 of the verse to 6.5 ET tubes. She needs central line for dialysis. Call for a pediatric nephrology consult.
A nurse draws up the medication. Hathaway takes the mask off.
When can I go home?
Not for a while, Sophie. Dr. Ross is going to give you some medicine to make you sleepy. When you wake up, you'll have a tube in your mouth to help you breathe. You won't be able to speak, so we're going to have to talk with hand signals. Do you know what that means?
She makes the okay sign. Sophie nods. The drugs are making her sleepy.
Okay.
Are you good at charades?
Sophie nods yes, falling asleep. Ross lowers the head of the bed and starts to intubate.
Give me some crackwood pressure.
Donna enters the room with Barbara, Sophie's mom.
Sophie, are you okay, honey? What's going on?
I'm in Bagger. Your mother? Need 11 French double lumen catheter.
What are you doing?
Ross moves to the groin to insert a central line.
I'm Dr. Ross. Her lungs were filled with fluid, so we had to.
Sophie, why is she unconscious?
Miss Traeger, listen to me. She wasn't getting enough oxygen. Sedated her to place a breathing tube down her throat.
She wasn't sick when I left. She had a little diarrhea.
I think she has E. coli bacterial infection that caused kidney failure.
E. coli? That comes from meat. It's impossible. She doesn't eat meat.
You can get it from raw juices, sprouts.
However she got it, she needs dialysis. With that, she has an excellent chance for recovery.
Oh no. I want another opinion before anyone puts her on some machine.
We don't have a lot of time.
This is my daughter. I think I have a right to decide how she's treated.
She's my patient. Her potassium is high enough to cause a cardiac arrest. She needs dialysis as soon as possible.
Barbara stares, fuming. A nurse hands Ross a clipboard.
Ms. Traeger, please give me your consent.
A beat, and she takes the clipboard.
I need to call her father.
Barbara exits. Ross gets to work on the dialysis catheter. Cut to exterior chemical plant site, office rubble, Chicago. Magic. A pile of rubble with smoke in the background, foreground activity of firemen and paramedics fighting the blaze and tending to the injured. Corday, Dewey, and Ricci emerge from the rubble on the run, carrying Leo on a backboard with C-collar and arm sling.
When we give an order, it's for a reason.
I'm sorry, we were just so close.
You all could have been killed. I'd have 3 deaths to explain.
Zadro and Ellerman meet them with the gurney. Ricci's on his walkie-talkie as Leo is placed on the gurney.
Had us worried about you.
Leo Letzinger, crush injury to the right arm.
BP 90 palp, pulse 110.
We've had a prolonged extrication.
No kidding.
Behind them, boundary tapes go up and the hazmat decontamination tents are unfolded. Ricci redirects the gurney.
Stay to the right. We've got an unknown solvent pouring out from a holding tank. Hazmat setting up for decontamination.
As they move to the ambulance, the inflatable hazmat tents rise in the background. Firefighters cordon off the contaminated area with red and yellow hazmat tape.
Already sent 16 patients to 4 hospitals. Soon as we drop him off, we're back for more.
They continue towards the ambulance. Cut to admin desk night. Weaver surveys the board as Jeannie signs out Laszlo, a burn patient.
How are you doing?
Last one. Now, we'll see you tomorrow for a wound check.
Laszlo exits to the ambulance bay.
Jeannie, since there are workers' comp cases, be sure to call the employee health coordinator at the chemical plant and fax them all of your records.
Before Jeannie can respond, there's a shout from the employee entrance.
I need some help here.
They turn to see 3 people stumbling through the door, dressed in chemical plant coveralls and down jackets. Jackie Teller, 30s, female plant foreman, supports Manny Lopez, barely conscious, clothes dripping wet, followed by Morris Campbell, short of breath from aspirating the fumes.
What happened?
We're from Prusak, Camco. We were building 5 when the tank blew. Manny flew right into the stuff.
What kind of stuff?
Everyone got soaked. It was a mess. I threw these guys in the back of my pickup.
What's that smell?
Weaver, Jackie, and the nurses put Manny on a gurney and move towards curtain 2. Jackie drops her down coat in the puddle by the admit desk.
Some solvent. A lot of people got sick.
Jeannie, take the other guy. Bag and seal all the clothes. Glove up, everybody.
Jerry and other nurses hold gauze pads, scarves, etc. to their faces.
Check Manny first. He's the worst.
I'm gonna go open some doors.
Cut to exam 3 night. Carter shows Dr. George his new eye drops and fills out aftercare papers.
Use these twice a day.
Dr. George sniffs at the air.
Benzene.
What?
That smell.
They're probably stripping the floors.
Not with benzene. Extremely toxic.
Uh-huh.
Amazing story. 1858, German scientist Kekuli is asleep. He dreams of strings of atoms twisting and turning like snakes.
As Carter moves him towards the door.
Now, one of those snakes bites its tail and whirls before his eyes. He awakes and having discovered the molecular structure of benzene.
Wow.
The side hall night.
Wow.
A vision that changed his life. I'd find out where that smell is coming from if I were you.
Carter moves to the nurse's station, Main ER night. Through the window, he sees the commotion at curtain 2B. He sees the commotion at curtain 2B. Tamara, Weaver, and Takata work on Manny bagging the clothes and examining the patient. Jackie stands by Spinetti in curtain 2A.
Get those clothes outside, Yosh.
He passes off a bag of wet clothes to a nurse. Jeannie helps Morris, seated by exam 1 with an oxygen mask, and hooks up a pulse oximeter.
Take some slow, deep breaths.
What's going on?
Chemical spill.
Carter goes to glove up.
You want me to call your wife? You might be here for a while.
Delamico enters with a suture kit.
Ooh, we need some fans. I'll call maintenance.
She moves to the admit desk.
And get housekeeping to clean up the...
Weaver takes a shaky step back from the bed. She grabs an IV pole to steady herself. The pole timbers with her as she faints, knocking over a Mayo stand filled with supplies. Takata rushes to her side and drags her towards an empty bed in curtain 1. Delamico runs over.
Give me a hand.
Randy and Marquez approach. What's wrong?
Marquez, what's wrong?
Who's Marquez?
There's a new switch.
Oh my God, it's Dr. Weaver.
Yep.
Don't touch her without gloves on. Her clothes are soaked with that stuff.
Jeannie comes over as they lift her to the gurney.
On my count. 1, 2, 3.
They lift Weaver to the gurney and open her shirt to examine the lungs. Carter comes up to the bedside.
Oxygen mask.
Get her on a pulse ox.
Carter hands the mask to Jeannie, who places it over the unconscious Weaver's face. Weaver vomits up into the mask.
Roll her on her side and suction.
Don't let her aspirate.
Delamico hands the suction to Jeannie. As Jeannie starts to clear the airway, Weaver's body erupts into a grand mal seizure.
Ativan, 2 milligrams IV now.
She needs a line.
Randy and Marquez run to help. Carter stops them, stepping back.
Stop. Don't walk through the puddles. It might be benzene.
What is that?
A solvent. It's toxic. Don't spread it around. We've got to keep this contained.
Carter looks at the floor and sees gurney tracks and footprints leading all over the ER.
Pulse ox.
Do
Pulse
we
ox
need
is
an
only.
intubate?
I'm in with the
Christ,
let's
it's
go.
everywhere.
Do we need an intubate?
The pulse ox is only 85. Turn up the oxygen. Oh,
Do we need
come
an
on.
intubate?
Oh, come on, Carrie. Come on.
Oh, Christ, it's everywhere.
Off Carter, realizing the benzene has spread out through the ER. Fade out, end of Act 1. Act 2, fade in, main ER, night, 5:30 p.m. Carter and Jarvik unfurl a large impermeable surgical drape to cover the contaminated floor. Marquez enters with a new drape. Note, this all plays like gangbusters with overlap dialogue.
It's going to take at least 4 more to cover the floor by admit.
I'll call Central. Delamico but passes by.
Anna, check Ellenhorn's toxicology. See what it says about benzene exposure.
Jeannie moves Weaver on a gurney, still unconscious, across the blue sheets towards the trauma room.
Where to?
Trauma 1, get the sickest patients away from the stuff. Double bag all the contaminated clothing. Put them outside.
Benton emerges from Trauma 1 with Krukowski, a clean warehouse worker.
Clean patients in the black hall. I'll cover them. Randy, bring the charts.
You guys need to air the place out. Did you call hazmat?
Benton moves out.
They're on the way.
Carter moves to Manny. Jerry crosses, pulling a large fan.
There's another one of these babies in the maintenance closet.
He moves to admin desk night.
I'll blow this stuff out of here in no time.
He starts to unwind the power cord. Seeing him with the fan, Carter calls out.
No, don't turn it on. The spark could ignite the fumes.
Jerry drops the cord.
Oh, right.
Hathaway has placed her clinic table in the main hall behind the admit window away from the fumes. Malik and Marquez talk on 2 phones already stretched to the table.
Give me another phone.
Jerry stretches a 3rd phone cord across to her.
What's the ETA on hazmat?
Jerry, we got to find the disaster manual.
I need surgical drapes in the ER. Waterproof ones. Better send a dozen. Hathaway dials the phone as Malik hangs up.
They'll be here in less than 5 minutes.
No, this is an emergency. Get him up here now. Malik and Marquez move to transfer patients. In the background, a steady stream of patients move down the main hallway away from the admin desk. Hathaway dials the phone as Jerry tears through stacks and stacks of disorganized 3-inch manuals under the desk.
policies and procedures, human resources, sexual harassment guidelines. It's got to be somewhere in here.
Hathaway observes Jerry's frustration.
Dispatch, this is the county general ER. We are closing due to internal disaster. No, I can't wait. Oh, wait. Come on, damn it. Don't put me on hold.
Jerry lunges his head out towards the ambulance entrance, gasping for fresh air.
Maybe the manual's in the lounge.
Jerry moves to the lounge.
Yes, we're closing down to all paramedic traffic immediately.
Bam! Corday and Zadro burst in through the ambulance entrance with Leipziger in a cervical collar, backboard, and arm sling. Corday is filthy, covered with oil, dirt, the beginnings of a black eye, and scrapes from her ordeal. Carter runs towards the admit desk.
It hurts again. I need some more.
Hang in there, Leo.
Earl, I've got a major trauma patient. What's going on here?
Hathaway slams down the phone.
Chemical spill. What happened to you?
The gurney heads into the main ER. Carter stops them and redirects them down the main hall.
No, Dr. Corday, other way. We're moving everybody.
Corday sniffs at the air.
Benzene fumes. Contaminating patients. It's all over the floor.
This man needs pre-op labs, chest x-ray, peritoneal lavage, and immediate surgery to revascularize his arm.
Take him to the back hall. I'll send x-ray.
In the hall?
Malik, set him up for lavage and notify the OR.
Delamico crosses, moving Arterburn's gurney to safety. Where are you taking me? Should we even be in here?
Don't worry, everything's okay, Mr. Arterburn. We're just taking normal precautions.
As they reach the door to the back hall, Benton reappears, stopping their progress.
Come out of here. Anna, there's fumes coming off the wheels of the gurneys. Connie passed out in the back hall.
Takata follows, pushing Randy in a wheelchair. Listen, I want to get out of here. Where are my clothes?
What happened to Randy?
I don't know. She just fainted.
Carter runs up to Benton.
What about the lobby?
All right, let's go. Clean patients only.
How do we know who is clean?
Who is Randy contaminated? Sorry, is Randy contaminated?
If it's on your clothes.
Benton moves alongside Corday and Leo. He sees her and reacts to her disheveled state.
Elizabeth, you okay?
Fine, a bit mussed, but my patient's critical. Where are we going?
I'm not exactly sure.
As Hathaway talks on the phone, she scrambles to pull her table out of the way so Benton and the others can pass.
If the CEO's in a meeting, get me her assistant. We are in disaster mode. We need a hospital-wide response.
Carter moves to help as Dumar and 3 gurney patients break through the ambulance doors.
Three victims from the blast, all decontaminated at the scene. What the hell is this?
Now it's gridlock. Carter is trapped by Benton's 10 patients and the 3 new arrivals. Everyone's talking at once, shouting out conflicting orders, but no one can move.
Don't come in here. The ER's contaminated.
Clear a path. We got to get through.
What happened?
They just showed up, covered in benzene.
Don't you screen people? You shouldn't have let them in.
You guys didn't control the scene. They came in here in a pickup
clear
truck.
out the lobby. We got 10 gurneys to set up in there.
In the chaos, Carter is looking around, wondering what he can do.
Okay, back up. Get the table out of the way. Let the paramedics. No. These patients have to move through.
Randy is awake. She stands up to help. I need my purse.
Sit down, Randy. You're sick.
I'm okay.
Let us through. We're right next to the fumes. We're going to get sick.
I forgot it was Marcus too. Sorry.
Let's move them up to the wards and to the ICU.
No, they're not staffed for this.
Oh, they should go to another hospital.
Yeah, send them to Mercy.
Jerry's muted.
I'll call county dispatch, see if we can get a transport.
We need to take care of them now.
Surveying the chaos, Carter pushes through to the desk.
I need everyone to quiet down. Shut up, everybody. Shut up. We're going to evacuate the entire ER.
People look around. Is Carter the one to do this?
Carter?
Carter keeps going.
Move all contaminated patients and step outside to the ambulance bay now.
How do we know if they're contaminated?
Anyone with a wet spot on their clothes, their gurney, their skin, outside now.
There's muttering and hesitation.
Come on, let's go.
Dumar and his patients clear the way as the few gurneys move outside. Jeannie comes through with Weaver, gowned and on oxygen.
Let me through.
Dr. Weaver, how are you doing?
Weaver groans, unable to answer. Jeannie pushes her towards the bay.
Her seizing stopped. She's post.
Takata walks out with Randy. Where are you taking me?
You have to go outside. There's a spot on your elbow.
So take my jacket. I'm not going to stand out there and freeze my ass off.
Take a bunch of blankets outside. Any non-urgent complaints, send home now.
Delamico moves to the chairs. She approaches 10 waiting patients.
Everybody stand up and line up. That's right, facing me.
Clean patients needing sutures or x-rays to the lobby. Check all the rooms.
Delamico works her way down the lineup of patients.
What are you here for?
Another angle, Carter. Carter continues.
How many critical patients do we have?
Hands go up. Here.
One in the suture room. 3 more in the ambulance bay.
All right, 7, 8, 3 outside. That's 11. Okay, critical patients move to the cafeteria. Yes, the cafeteria is big enough. Bring all the portable monitors and oxygen cylinders. We'll set up there.
There's a beat of hesitation from the crowd.
Come on, let's move.
The caravan starts out for the cafeteria. Another angle, chairs. Delamico has thrown out half the patients. As Carter directs traffic in the background, she moves to a middle-aged woman in a full cervical halo.
What about you?
I need a refill for Flexeril. I'm down to my last pill.
Delamico scribbles on her prescription pad.
Who's your doctor?
I go to the neurosurgery clinic.
Delamico tears off the prescription.
Make an appointment.
The woman exits. Delamico moves down the line to a smallish man holding his hat in his hand.
And you?
I was in a car accident last week and my lawyer told me to come here for x-rays.
Okay, get out of here.
Cut to curtain 3 night. Ross and dialysis tech prepare Sophie for transfer. Ross unhooks the ventilator and squeezes the ambu bag.
Who's the dialysis tech? Oh, Abiskar. Right.
It's not advisable to move the machine during dialysis.
You have to evacuate. What do you think? What do you do in a power failure? Doesn't it run off a battery?
No battery. There's a hand crank.
Start cranking.
Ross reaches to pull the dialysis machine plug. Hathaway enters.
Doug, Peds unit has a bed.
Good. Let's get it ready.
Cut to ambulance bay night. Jeannie and nurses huddle near the doorway, draping blankets over Weaver and other contaminated patients. A fire truck, light swirling, sits in the archway. We better get some heat out here. We're going to freeze. Captain Duneker and other firemen appear from behind the truck wearing breathing apparatus.
Hazmat, what's up?
There's a benzene spill inside, and these are the contaminated patients. We need some kind of shelter.
We'll set up out here. Keep them covered.
Cut to admit desk night. Carter's overseeing activity at the desk as a nurse passes with a pallet of oxygen cylinders.
Take all those to the cafeteria and set up portable suction.
Daneker and colleague enter the ER wearing their respirators.
Where's the spill?
Other side of the desk. We're evacuating.
Right. That means you too, Doctor.
Carter.
Captain Daneker. We're setting up decon in the ambulance bay.
We haven't finished stocking the cafeteria and ambulance bay with medical supplies.
Our people will get you what you need. Get everyone out now.
You won't know what to look for or where to find it. Give me 5 minutes to clear the place.
You've got 2.
Daneker heads out to the bay. Carter runs down the hall with Marquez.
Chooney, grab a crash cart and a defibrillator. Couple of Mayo stands.
Right. Carter passes by the door to curtain 3 and sees Ross and Hathaway moving out.
You guys okay?
On our way.
Carter continues down the hall.
Anyone in exam 4?
No answer. He turns to the trauma hall and sees Marquez moving a crash cart.
And saline, Shuni. Lots of saline.
Jarvik sticks her head out from the suture room.
Hey, Carter, I need you down here.
Carter moves into the suture room night. Jarvik mobilizes Inga Paulson, 70s, wide-eyed, intubated on multiple drips.
Ingopulsion, coronary artery disease, congestive heart failure on dopamine and heparin drips. Help me move her out.
I'll do it. I need you to take ACLS drugs to the cafeteria. All you can load on the biggest cart you can find.
Jarvik hesitates.
You're going to move her and back her?
Go, just go.
Cut to cafeteria night. Benton gives orders to 2 cafeteria busboys. In the background, by the cafeteria entrance, the medical staff tends to multiple patients awaiting their assigned places.
Move all the tables against the wall. We need more room.
He pushes 2 tables in tandem towards the wall. Hefty cafeteria manager Bertha, former Army mess sergeant, storms over.
Lift that, doctor. Don't push it. You're scratching my floor.
Get off the other end of this. Give me a hand.
You do not order my people around. You tell me what you need. I will have it done for you. Lucio, Ryan, stack the tables 2 high against the wall.
We need electrical outlets.
All along that wall behind the steam tables.
Benton moves over to the waiting patients. Jerry carries a stack of 20 chairs.
When I call your patient's name, tell me the diagnosis. Arterburn.
Rule out MI.
Center aisle by the salad bar.
Delamico moves off.
Win. Mallet, win.
Septic shock, respirator failure.
All right, thanks. Over by the wall. He'll need a vent.
Corday plows through with Leo, heading for a spot by the wall.
Whoa, whoa. Where are you taking him?
I can't wait, Peter. I need x-ray, I need pre-op labs, and I need to get him cleaned up and up to the OR.
Off Benton, cut to elevator lobby night. The elevator's emergency stop alarm blares as Ross pushes Sophie to the back of the elevator. The dialysis tech tries to enter with the machine while Hathaway turns the crank. This is ridiculous. Hathaway tries to reposition the bulky machine. Look, it's not going to work. There's not enough room.
Maybe we're better off in the cafeteria.
No, I want her in the ICU. Let's pull the lines and close the circuit. Hold the cranking so I can disconnect.
He starts to disconnect the lines.
There's a liter of her blood in that machine, Doug.
I'm aware of that.
You should go to that cafeteria.
Ross ignores her, hooking up the 2 lines.
Okay, so you've got cranked again. Carol, come with me.
The tech takes over the cranking and pulls the machine away.
Pick the other elevator. We'll meet in the PICU to hook her back up. Keep cranking. Don't let her blood clot off.
Cut to main hall admit desk night. Carter pushes Inga down the hall with Inga squeezing her own ambu bag.
Good, Inga. Big squeeze every 3 seconds. You're doing fine.
Inga nods, acknowledging his compliment. Daniker enters through the ambulance bay.
This is the last one. It's all yours.
Get going.
Suddenly, the deafening hospital fire alarm blares.
What the hell?
Fire alarm. I'll deal with it. Danica here. Give me the fire control room.
Carter wheels off with Inga. Cut to elevator night. The muted fire alarm blares. Ross, Hathaway, and Sophie rise towards the 3rd floor.
Oh, what's that?
Out of annoyance, Ross taps on the 3rd floor button.
Ross.
Roger.
Sounds like a fire alarm. Come on, come on.
Suddenly, a loud, heavy sound. Ka-thunk! And the elevator lurches to a stop. The lights blink. The jolt causes Hathaway to disconnect the ambu bag from Sophie's breathing tube.
I lost the bag. Stabilize the tube.
Got it.
Ross helps Hathaway reconnect.
What did you do? What did you push?
Nothing.
Another lurch and the elevator starts to descend.
What the hell is going on?
Elevator recall happens in the emergencies. We're going down to the lobby.
Are you okay, Sophie?
Sophie makes the okay sign weakly. Clank! The elevator grinds to a halt with a terrible metallic sound.
Why'd it stop?
I don't know. How's your oxygen supply?
Hathaway squints to see under the gurney.
Less than half a tank. We got 20 minutes.
Ross opens the emergency phone box and pulls out the handset. A frayed cord hangs from the set, vandalized. He slams down the phone.
Damn it.
Ross pushes the emergency elevator alarm. A bell rings, barely audible under the continuing din of the fire alarm.
Can they hear that?
We'll be okay.
Fade out. End of Act 2.
Woo! You guys are handling this emergency like stars. You know. All right, that went by quick. I almost feel like we don't need an intermission, but since we have one set, since we planned it, since we told you guys about it, I say we take it. Was that a buy or a question, Petra?
That was a 5.
Yep, 5. So see you guys here after 10 at 11 or 12.
All right, guys. I will see you guys later. You guys have a great rest of the read.
All right. Thanks for being here, Clint.
Yeah.
Right.
See you guys.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Clint. See you later.
Thank you.
See ya.
Glad you're here.
Vicky, can I comment? I'm loving your like little Sophie voice. It's so cute.
I'm back.
I'm back too. I hope I'm doing it justice.
You are doing your spin on it, and it is good.
What she said.
Thank you.
Well, I'm
I'm a
not
fan.
Noah Wiley, but I hope to God I'm doing it respectfully.
No, you're Heather Lee Cameron, and that's all you need to friggin' be, okay?
Yeah.
You are Carter, so shush.
You know, I think I will, when I do my Instagram post of this, I think I'll tag him and see if he responds.
You do that.
Well, I mean, it's like a dream to be able to do this because I dreamed of someday being on ER when I was a teenager, right? So it's like, and where I was at, I didn't think the dream would ever come true. And this is a way to kind of fulfill the dream, like reading this.
Fulfill the dream.
Assuming the show's still on, it's still probable.
It's not.
Well, ER was canceled a long time ago, but I mean, maybe I'll be on a doctor show someday. That would be cool.
There you go.
There you go. I'm still make that a goal.
Like a doctor in Star Trek, or just a doctor in Scrubs on television being really cool. I mean,
there are several medical procedurals out there. You absolutely could land on one.
Or maybe I should
Doctor,
just write my own
patient. There you go.
In fact, maybe I will write a medical show. I sort of have.
Oh. What about this? What about this? Trauma Bay, but it's like set in space, like a spaceship aircraft bay that also happens to be, it's sort of like MASH, but in space.
You know what? I think that the only thing that would work is if you were in it too, and everybody else here was in it.
Okay.
Since you love Star Trek so much, you can do this.
We need everybody in that kind of a thing because that's the only way it would work.
Is there a Star Trek medical procedural?
There's a medical bay, but I don't think they've had a separate show for it. So Heather, write it, create it.
Yeah. I was thinking more like closer to like MASH in space was.
Well, that's different.
You know what? Oh my goodness! If they ever rebooted MASH in the modern times, oh, I'd be there.
Do it.
Like maybe as Hawkeye's child.
Product of its next. Well, at this point, grandchild, great grandchild, descendant.
To be the grandchild of Hawkeye, honestly, that would be so freaking
actually
fun.
Well, that's the only thing. I highly doubt, no offense to Alan Alda, I know he's a very nice guy, but I think he probably would just be cloned. They would have taken like some of his leftover DNA or something. You could be BJ's descendant though.
Oh, maybe.
There you go.
See, everybody, look at these creatives that we have in here. All these passion about all these shows and
free
movies.
brainstorming. Nobody steal it.
Want to write.
I think Hawkeye or even Radar.
I'll tell you what, somebody can steal it, Aaron. They just have to cast us in it. That's our only request. You were allowed to, you were welcome to take it and run with it. Just come back and get us and drag us along with you because we want to be in it.
Indeed.
That's why we come up with these things.
Deal.
And you know what? You know what?
How's everybody's feeling about continuing this one?
The best thing, I just realized that it could work because Roger could be Klinger's grandson, and that would be freaking epic. Because Klinger did marry an Asian woman, so that would be an effing epic thing for Roger to be Klinger's grandson.
I think depending on how far out we're going, we're talking like several generations at this point, but that's okay. That's also why I said it'd have to be like Hawkeye's clone or something.
In space.
Okay.
There's still short two people.
After this is done, you guys get in that writer's room.
Why
you guys
not? I mean, why not?
Out.
Are we missing anyone?
It's my fault because I was saying that
Roger and Angel.
Okay, so we gotta wait until at least one of them comes back because we need I
was literally saying that this is my fault. Like I started this because I was saying that I had this dream of being in ER back when I was in high school, and I didn't think at my current state in life at the time, because I was in high school and certain circumstances were in the way of that dream, that I didn't think it would ever happen. But this is a way that it's sort of fulfilling that dream now.
Absolutely. We're living the dream. We're on the path to it.
Roger, Lord Mortimer, you are needed. Paging Dr. Roger to the ER. Paging Dr. Roger.
Did everyone get figured out, or because I'll take somebody?
Yep.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone claimed someone.
Oh, well. I got back too late.
You're okay.
Sorry.
Anyway, never mind us, audience. We're just crazy. We need to be a MASH. We need to be the modern MASH. So please make us the modern MASH. Honest to God.
Insert bad joke here. The Monster Mash.
Like we will be the modern MASH.
I suppose you would, if it's like super modern, futuristic, a couple hundred years in the future, it would absolutely make sense for like aliens to be part of it and not just like clones and descendants. So I'm down for that. Monster Mash, Trauma Bay.
Fair enough.
I was thinking that if Heather, and just until Ross comes back, I was thinking like, Heather, if you did like a Star Trek one, then you guys could get all these aliens and you don't know where this is in them or how they work, and they have to figure out how their anatomy works first before they know how to fix them.
My ovaries are in my ears.
One never knows what the future will bring, and that's all I can say right now.
There you
You
go.
know if you create it.
The future's not set in
Well,
stone.
Right.
Also true.
I guess until
While we're on it, though,
Ross
my
comes
highly
back.
inappropriate badge, if anyone would like to read it. I also have one that says bite, or one that says lick me, and one that says smell me. And I'm like, they're from a candy shop before anybody gets weird. But
Okay.
I had to give away my purple eat me, which makes me sad. But I thought the bite me was appropriate because it's mood.
Why'd you have to
as
give it
well.
away?
Somebody really wanted it and they don't give them out anymore. So I had the full set and all of them, and I was like, I'm not
you are
reading.
making me want to be very inappropriate, but I will keep my mouth shut.
No, inappropriate would be reading out the red one, so that's why I figured the green was more appropriate.
I think before we get to inappropriateness, we should come back.
Yep.
I'll take Ross until Roger comes back, and then he'll take it back over.
Got it.
Just so we can keep this
Oh,
train
just a minute.
moving.
I need a little.
Let's jump back in. We good?
All right, it looks like we're good for now. So take us away, Petra. Oh, and Ross is back. Cool.
Okay.
Perfect.
Timing. Act 3, fade in. Ambulance bay night. At night, 6 p.m. The external fire alarm bell rings on as the spacesuited hazmat team works in the ambulance bay. 10 scrubbers and rinsers hover over figures on gurneys in decontamination pools, while ambulatory patients, including Randy, scrub themselves in portable showers. Behind a yellow tape, Carter approaches Daniker, who's talking on the walkie-talkie. He's grabbed by Barbara Traeger, who jumped an outside barrier.
Excuse me, you're a doctor?
Yes,
I have to find my daughter. She's a patient in the ER. They won't let me in.
Before Carter can respond, Fireman Ernie ushers Barbara back.
Ma'am, you can't be here. Come with me.
No, someone help me.
She's probably in the cafeteria. You should check in there.
Carter moves on to Daniker.
Captain Daniker.
Copy. No fire verified on floor 2. Fire control. Do a reset. False alarm. Someone melted fumes and panicked. Someone smelled fumes and panicked.
The hazmat team carries a patient on a backboard to a gurney at the access control point. Jeannie steps forward to take the patient, now revealed as Weaver, out of the contamination zone. Weaver's coming around, but still altered from the seizure. Jeannie takes a quick listen to her lungs. The fire alarm bell silences.
Jeannie, why are we out here?
It's okay, Carrie. We're going into the cafeteria.
Good. I'm hungry.
How's she doing?
A few wheezes. She's still altered.
It's not from the benzene. It's just from the seizure. She'll be fine.
Jeannie nods and moves Weaver off towards the revolving door hospital entrance. Carter moves on to Daniker.
Some patients may need medical attention before we can take them inside.
That's your tent. In the cold zone.
Cold zone?
Out here. In there, the warm zone, where we clean them. Nobody goes in without a suit. Same goes for the ER. That's a hot zone.
Harriet Spooner, hospital administrator, dressed in a business suit and an orange incident commander vest, approaches. Daniker goes back to his walkie-talkie.
Are you Carter?
Yes.
Harriet Spooner, normally VP of Operations. Today, I'm the incident commander. You evacuated the ER to the cafeteria.
Yeah.
The disaster plan calls for evacuation to the physical therapy ward.
It was pretty chaotic. We
Spooner.
had to...
Spooner, we've got an elevator stuck between floors.
Anyone on it?
Yep. Phone's dead, but the alarm's going.
Cut to elevator night. As the elevator alarm continues, Ross bags Sophie with one hand. Sophie looks at Ross, afraid.
Okay, Sophie. You're just having a little adventure. You're going to have some really cool stories to tell your friends.
Hathaway checks the portable monitor.
Multifocal PVCs.
That seems too high. Push an amp with bicarb and that'll buy us a little time.
Hathaway rummages through the drug box. Another alarm. Ross looks at the monitor.
Room 7, where's the bicarb? She's about to go into VTech.
Hathaway continues to tear through the box.
There isn't any.
Didn't you check the box? You can't treat hyperkalemia without bicarb.
It wasn't my idea to move her like this.
With fear in her eyes, Sophie grabs Hathaway by the sleeve and pulls her close.
Okay, it's okay.
What do you have in there?
I got epi. I got atropine. How about lidocaine?
Okay, lidocaine. 50 milligram bolus, but then 5 milligrams every 5 minutes. How's the oxygen?
10 minutes.
Off Ross trying to figure out what to do. Cut to cafeteria at night. Corday finishes the peritoneal lavage on Leo, pulling the catheter out of his belly. Malik assists.
Lavage is negative. Let's get him up to the OR.
Malik calls to an orderly.
Hey, transport, give us a hand.
Leo moves out, crossing with Jeannie and Weaver, who settle in next to Arterburn. Arterburn looks over curiously, recognizing Weaver as his doctor. Dr. Weaver?
I'm sorry. Have we met before?
You're my doctor.
Why don't we just let her rest?
Marquez wheels by with a ventilator, with Carter following to the ICU area. We got 2 more vents coming down. Who gets the first one? They arrive between Inga, still bagging herself, and patient Wen, bagged by Jarvik.
Let's start with Inga.
Inga shakes her head no, continues to bag, and points to the other patient.
You sure, Inga? It could be a while.
Inga flexes her arm, demonstrating a strong bicep, and nods. Carter smiles, then sees Harriet Spooner approaching.
Carter, where's your attending?
Dr. Weaver's over here.
They walk to Weaver's bedside.
Carrie?
Weaver looks up at her, confused.
Harriet? What is going on?
I'm sorry, I had no idea you were debilitated by the incident.
Incident?
Carter pulls Spooner aside.
Is she going to be okay?
Lack of oxygen caused a seizure. We don't expect any long-term effects.
They walk and talk. Spooner hands him a 9x12 inch envelope and a walkie-talkie.
Here's the job action packet for the chief medical officer. I guess for the moment, that's you. And a walkie. I'm on channel 4. I'll check in with you every half an hour. I've got to get back to dealing with the elevator.
You get the people out?
Building engineer has the elevator repairman on the way. Shouldn't be more than an hour.
Cut to elevator night. Ross shoves an IV pole in the jamb of the inner elevator doors and attempts to pry it open. Hathaway's bagging Sophie.
Aren't there 2 sets of doors?
When the doors are a few inches apart, the pole slips, the door slams shut, and Ross barks his knuckles.
Damn it. This time when it opens, get your body in there.
I can't. I gotta bag her.
Ross has the door open about 12 inches.
You can reach it. Come on. Get in here.
Hathaway slides in between the open doors sideways, bracing the door apart with her back and the sole of one foot.
Got it.
Ross inspects the outer door.
Okay, we're about 2 feet short of the next floor.
He tries to pry the outer door with the IV pole. It won't budge.
Come on. Come on.
Ross gets up on the bed, feet straddling Sophie's head.
Doug?
Ross buries his face and both arms into the space between the inner and outer doors, feeling around the top of the doors.
Gotta be a latch or something.
Doug, get down. What if it starts to move?
You won't have to worry about commitment.
Doug, I'm not kidding.
He feels
Got
something.
Got it. This might do it.
Using his right hand, he strains to release the latch.
It's gonna work. Give me the pole.
Hathaway hands him the IV pole. Ross shifts his position for leverage, almost stomping on Sophie's head.
Watch your step.
An
What?
alarm.
That's not the EKG. It's the pulse ox. Her O2 stats down to 89.
How's the oxygen?
Hathaway looks at the empty gauge on the tank.
Oh God. Sophie, how are you doing?
Sophie doesn't respond. Hathaway shakes her. Ross struggles to jimmy the pole into the jam. There's a banging on the outside of the elevator doors.
Yeah, we're stuck in here. Open the doors.
Elevator repairman's on his way. Be there in 45 minutes.
We can't wait. We got a sick kid. We need oxygen.
Sophie, she's unresponsive.
Let's go, Carol. Push.
Ross gets a better grip on the IV pole. Hathaway braces herself.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Ross pulls on the pole. Hathaway pushes with her foot. They're both drenched in sweat. The outer doors open a crack and no more. Without warning, Hathaway's foot slips and the inner doors close on her.
Ow!
Ross lets go of the latch and uses both hands on the inner doors to prevent her from being crushed.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay, come on, get your foot up. We're gonna go and get.
Hathaway bangs on the outer doors and shouts.
Get us out of here.
Hathaway gets her foot into position against the door. Ross reaches for the latch and puts the pull into place.
Ready? And go.
Hathaway pushes, Ross pries.
As far as it'll go.
Keep going, Carol. We can do this. Keep it up.
The outer door is open 6 inches. 3 sets of hands grab it from the outside and pull. Suddenly, both doors fly open. Hathaway falls to her butt, and Ross tumbles out into the another floor elevator lobby night. Hathaway rushes back to bag Sophie. Outside the elevator, a fireman, building engineer, peds nurse Kit, and a crowd of nurses and orderlies help Ross up and jump in the elevator to transfer Sophie.
She needs oxygen right away.
Got it.
Ross jumps back into the elevator, ready to lift the gurney with the team.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
The gurney's out. The team races down the hall. Cut to Scrub Sinks night. Romano scrubs as Corday enters, hair wet, freshly cleaned from the dirt of the rubble. Inside the OR, Leo is prepped for surgery.
Ah, here's our little action hero.
How does it look?
Like ground beef. No, more like chopped liver.
Do you think we have a chance for limb salvage?
You want my honest opinion? No, I guess you don't.
I'd like to give it our best shot.
You got it, Lizzie. No holds barred, 110%.
Cut to cafeteria at night. Benton tests sensation in Krakowski's leg concerned. Marquez is there.
Can you feel this?
It's kind of numb. Is that bad?
The leg's getting tense. I need to measure the internal pressure.
Transducer's up in the ER. Hazmat will never find it.
Okay, then I need a 20 gauge needle, IV tubing, and BP cuff monitor.
You got it. Marquez leaves to gather supplies, passing Weaver, who's getting a nebulized breathing treatment and conversing with Arterburn one bed over. And then I watched them put you on a gurney and give you oxygen.
Then what happened?
They moved me from a yellow room to a green room.
That would be trauma too. But where was I at that time?
Then they brought you into the yellow room, and that's where they removed all your clothes and put them into a plastic bag. Off Weaver, cut to ambulance bay night. Jackie, in bra and underwear, lathers up under the portable shower. Carter arrives, seeing Morris entering the scrubbing area on a gurney. Daneker is there.
Got 2 more to go.
How about the ER?
Gonna be a while.
Morris struggles on the decontamination table.
Is there a doctor around?
Yeah, right here.
Kind of hard to breathe.
I'll be right with you.
You can't go in there. Suits only.
So suit me up. He's in trouble.
Even if you were certified, it'd take 15 minutes to suit you up. He'll be out before that.
Please, I can't breathe.
Doc, do something.
That guy could die. You're not letting me in there?
Mike, put him on oxygen.
The hazmat guys bring over a tank. Carter's frustrated.
First rule of hazmat, don't create more victims at the scene.
What do you think about that, Jackie? Maury, he's not talking, Doc.
Is he breathing?
Carter turns to a paramedic in the cold zone.
Airway kit now.
Give him a minute. You can tube him as soon as he comes out.
Carter grabs the airway kit and heads through the access control point into the warm zone. A burly fireman moves to stop him and drags him back into the cold zone.
That was pretty stupid.
Carter seems to nod in agreement. The fireman keeps a grip on Carter's overcoat. Suddenly, Carter makes a move. He wiggles out of the coat and ducks under the control tape. He dodges the security man, rushes to Morris, pushes the hazmat scrubbers away, and starts to intubate.
He's dirty now. Let him do it.
Help him.
Carter leans his forearms on the gurney, contaminating himself.
Any of you guys an EMT?
A hand raises.
Get ready to bag him. I'm in.
Scrub
The
him.
hazmat EMT bags Morris.
Scrub him.
3 hazmat workers, including Ernie, step up to Carter and peel off his clothes, lab coat first.
Nice going, Doc.
As they pull the lab coat off, the walkie-talkie squawks from the coat pocket. It's the voice of Harriet Spooner, incident commander.
Dr. Carter, come in. Dr. Carter, please update me on your progress.
A hazmat worker tosses the contaminated walkie-talkie into a trash bag.
Wait, I need to talk to her.
Got you covered, Doc.
Daniker holds up his walkie-talkie.
Got you covered, Doc.
Hazmat workers pull off Carter's shirt and pants. Jackie calls from the shower.
Thanks, Doc.
How's he doing?
As Carter, now in his underwear, is escorted into a yellow waiting pool, Ernie responds.
He's pinking up. Looking good.
Whoosh! 2 hoses open up, spraying Carter from head to toe. Shivering, he still manages to smile.
Great.
Off Carter, we fade out. End of Act 3. Act 4. Fade in, cafeteria night, 9:30 p.m. Push on a Rube Goldberg machine, contraption of syringes, tubes, manometer, and needle stuck into Krakowski's leg. Benton pushes on the syringe and Delamico calls out the pressure off the gauge.
60, 70.
Krakowski.
Sorry.
Good.
What does it mean?
The pressure's too high from the bleeding inside your leg. We need to operate to relieve it.
An alarm from across the cafeteria. Commotion around Inga's bedside. A nurse does CPR. Marquez grabs the paddles. Dr. Benton, Dr. Delamico, we need you over here.
Book a room.
Benton and Delamico run over to Inga's bedside. Charging to 200. Clear. Zap. Everyone looks at the monitor.
Still in fib.
Charge to 300.
Clear. Marquez zaps her again. Off Inga's face, cut to interior tent night. Carter's in the tent with Takata, who bags Morris. He's changed to scrubs, towels his hair, and stands barefoot.
Can we move him inside?
In a minute. Hey, what about my shoes?
Danica
Ernie.
hears him.
Ernie, take care of Dr. Carter.
Stats are up to 95. He's waking up.
Carter moves to listen to the lungs.
Sounds good. You're doing okay, Morris.
Ernie, out of his hazmat suit, enters with a pair of bright yellow firefighting boots.
Dr. Carter?
Carter looks up and sees the boots.
No, real shoes.
Malik enters.
Malik, help us move this guy.
We should wait a little bit. They're coding some old lady in the cafeteria.
Off Carter as he grabs the yellow boots and pulls them on. Cut to cafeteria night. Alarms. Delamico does CPR on Inga. Benton holds the paddles.
Trini, I said 360. Let's go.
Wait a second. It takes time. The battery's really low. Zap. They look at the monitor.
Asystole, how long we've been at this?
18 minutes.
Never had a pulse. Never had a rhythm. That's it.
As they turn off the monitor, unhook the ambu bag, Jarvik wheels by with Krakowski.
Date time of death, 2209.
Oh, I read the stage direction too early. I'm sorry.
Okay. Dr. Benton, OR's ready for Krakowski. I've got a vasectomy. See if you can find, I don't know. Yeah, see if you can find the family. Find a family.
That's a very different procedure, sir.
No more family after that.
Benton moves off to catch up with Jarvik. Another angle, Arterburn. Arterburn's been watching the whole resuscitation. He's a little agitated and turns to Weaver. Did that woman just die? Is she dead? Weaver nods regretfully as she breathes from the steaming nebulizer. Are they just going to leave her there? Weaver nods again. Benton and Jarvik pass with Krakowski.
Pre-op lab's back. Right there.
Benton reviews the lab results as they move to the corridor outside cafeteria at night.
How long will I be in a cast?
4 to 6 weeks.
Carter flies by, running to the cafeteria.
And it's got the code?
Yeah, but it's...
Before he can finish, Carter's dashed into the cafeteria as Jerry exits and calls after Benton.
Dr. Benton, an ICU bed opened up. Which patient do you want to go up first?
Ask Carter, he's in charge.
Cut to cafeteria at night. Carter runs up to the bedside of Inga. Her body is lifeless, bare endotracheal tube coming out of her mouth. Marquez cuts the IVs. As Carter stares, Delamico writes in the chart.
5 rounds of epi, 2 atropine, lidocaine, beryllium, amiodarone, nothing.
I should have had her up in the ICU.
Wouldn't have made a difference.
Might have.
No, you turned this place into an ICU.
This isn't an ICU. It's just something we threw together.
John, you thought on your feet when no one else could.
She was strong. This shouldn't have happened.
Look at her chart. Inoperable triple vessel disease. It was only a matter of time.
Carter and Delamico share a look. Suddenly, from across the aisle, Arterburn's monitor alarms. Carter and Delamico run over.
Mr. Arterburn, are you okay?
He is about to pass out. Dizzy, very dizzy. Carter checks the monitor. Marquez joins them.
Supraventricular tachycardia, adenosine, 6 milligrams, IV.
We don't have any.
Run to the pharmacy, Jerry. We need it now.
Jerry takes off. Weaver, still on the nebulizer, fumbles with her side rail, trying to get out of the bed.
Carter, you need any help?
Before Carter can respond, Weaver erupts into a coughing spell, unable to stop, unable to catch her breath.
Pulse is weak and thready. Mr. Arterburn, any chest pain?
He weakly shakes his head no.
Can't wait for the adenosine. Got a cardiovert. Lily, crash cart, and somebody help Dr. Weaver.
Jarvik drags the crash cart over from Inga to Arterburn. Jeannie, returning from a distant patient, runs over to Weaver.
Get him into Trendelberg. I'll try cardioid sinus massage.
Sit back, Carrie. Nice and easy.
They lower the head of Arterburn's bed. Takata joins them.
Yo, try to get a BP. Lily, charge to 100.
One bed over, Jeannie tries to settle Weaver.
But they need an attending.
Jarvik fiddles with the defibrillator. Delamico gives a sternal rub.
Mr. Arterburn? Mr. Arterburn, he's unresponsive.
Let's go, Lily. Paddles now.
I can't. Battery's dead.
I'll find an extension cord.
No, move him over to the wall. There's an outlet.
Jarvik drags the crash cart back to the wall near another 2 gurneys.
Move that gurney out of the way.
BP 60 pout.
Not moving much air. We gotta tube him.
Another alarm. Carter, panicked, looks around the room, then runs off to the soft drink dispenser. Jeannie has Weaver back on her breathing treatment and returns to help.
Carter?
Buddy's gone. Delamico squeezes a bag mask over Arterburn's face.
Pulse is weaker. Still an SVT.
Jeannie, get ready to start CPR. I need an intubation tube. Lily, as soon as you have power, we'll move her to the wall. Carter, get over here.
Carter has filled a busboy tray with ice cubes and water. He runs back to Arterburn's bedside. Jarvik plugs in the crash cart and pushes some gurneys out of the way, making room by the wall.
Almost ready.
Delamico prepares to intubate.
John, need you to bag him.
Carter pushes Delamico out of the way. In a flash, he raises the head of the bed, grabs Arterburn by the hair, and dumps his whole head under the ice water face first. Everyone at the bedside is wide-eyed. Carter? Carter holds his head underwater with the determination of an assassin. Arterburn comes up sputtering, gasping for air with a blood-curdling scream. The alarm silence. Carter smiles broadly.
Normal sinus rhythm.
What the hell are you people doing to me? Give me a towel.
You passed out from an abnormal heart rhythm. We had to treat it right away.
By drowning me?
The diving reflex.
Slows down the heart, breaks the tachycardia.
Arterburn looks around the room, sees Carter's yellow boots, then Weaver puffing on her nebulizer. He loses it. You call this the highest standard of care? Get my doctor on the phone now. Arterburn starts to rip off his EKG leads. Cut to OR hallway night. Corday and the surgical team wheel Leipziger up out of the OR.
I'll meet you in recovery in a few minutes. I want to be there when he wakens.
She crosses to the desk to finish some notes. Benton speaks as he approaches with Krakowski.
Elizabeth.
Hello, Peter.
Benton lets the team pass into the OR.
I'll be right there.
He approaches Corday, moving to examine her black eye.
Your eye looks worse.
It's nothing. I'm sure it looks nastier than it is.
You could have hypopemia. Let me check it out.
Benton takes out his pen light.
I heard about your rescue. You were under a collapsed building?
Corday nods.
Went all out to avoid an amputation, but we had to take the arm anyway.
He finishes the exam.
Are you okay?
I'll have to tell Leo about his arm when he wakes up. What about you? On call tonight?
I've got this fasciotomy, but after that, I'm available.
I could do with a little bit of debriefing.
Benton nods. Off Corday, watching him move off. Cut to Peds ICU night. Ross and Hathaway extubate Sophie, who's back on dialysis. She coughs a bit. Hathaway holds up an oxygen mask by her face.
Take some slow breaths, Sophie. Slow, deep breaths.
Get a blood gas in 20 minutes.
My throat's sore.
You want a sip of water?
Sophie nods. Hathaway holds up a plastic cup and straw. Sophie takes a sip and looks at Hathaway.
That was pretty scary, wasn't it?
No, we do stuff like that every day.
No, you were scared. Oh, tell the truth.
Hathaway looks at Ross.
Yeah, Sophie. I was pretty scared.
Ross smiles.
Ross.
Were you scared, Ross?
I was really scared.
Sophie smiles, reacting to her mother, Barbara, running towards the bedside.
Honey, I've been looking all over for you. Is she okay?
Doing fine.
I heard about the fumes. Was she exposed?
No, she was on a ventilator. The fumes couldn't reach her lungs.
So she was never in any danger?
Ross and Hathaway exchange a look.
Oh, no, Mom. They took really good care of me.
Barbara looks at Ross and Hathaway.
This morning, I said some things I probably shouldn't have.
Hathaway's beeper goes off.
The ER.
Hathaway moves off. Another doctor steps up to the bedside.
She's in good hands. I'll check on her a little later.
He grabs the ER drug box and walks out to the peds hallway at night. Ross catches up with Hathaway.
Hey, Carol, you should have pharmacy restock the drug box.
Hathaway glances at him then. Sure.
You still mad about this morning?
I was mad.
I believe you could accuse me of spying on you,
That is not what I said.
but it was what you meant.
I was annoyed. You don't need to check up on me.
They arrive at the elevators and push the button waiting. An elevator repairman works on the broken elevator car.
It wasn't. I just wanted to see you. I was lonely last night.
Me too.
He looks at her without touching her. He makes her feel him.
We don't want that to happen too often, do we?
Hathaway takes a moment.
No, I don't want it to happen at all.
Ding! The elevator doors open. It's a matching elevator to the one they were stuck on. They share a look of trepidation. As they step in,
Here goes.
he pushes the elevator panel button and the doors close. Cut to main ER night, a ghost town. The camera moves by the desolate admit desk through the empty curtain areas, through deserted trauma rooms to the main hallway, clean and restored. Suddenly, the doors open at the far end of the hall, and Carter, yellow boots, hand guiding an IV pole like the staff of Moses, leads a parade of patients and medical staff back to the ER. On the move, he makes bed assignments.
Mr. Arterburn, exam 1.
Arterburn peels off with right.
Lily, take Manny to exam 2. Junie, Morris, curtain 2.
The patients move off. Weaver approaches from the elevator lobby. She's up and about, now with nasal oxygen in place. Takato follows closely, wheeling her oxygen tank on a tether.
Carter, I could take it from here. Anna, put the sickest patients in the trauma rooms. And curtain 3.
Got it.
Jeannie, update the board with Jerry and get the phones back where they belong. Yosh, let's move.
Are you okay, Jerry?
I'm fine. Carter, I spoke with Harriet Spooner, the incident commander. Thanks for helping out. The administration would like you to speak to the press. We'll meet them together in the first floor conference room at 11:15.
As Weaver drones on, Carter looks through the window at the nurse's station to curtain 2. Jackie is at Morris's bedside. She smiles and waves to Carter. Morris, on a ventilator, gives him a big thumbs up.
In terms of dealing with these people, I've had a little more experience. It's important that the emphasis be placed on the institutional response to the crisis rather than any individual act, rather than any individual act, which they would tend to sensationalize.
Jeannie and Delamico pass, overhearing, and both giving Carter a smile and a knowing look. Carter smiles, taking private satisfaction that the ER appears normal again.
It's best to say simply that we followed a well-rehearsed disaster plan and worked in concert with the hazmat team to ensure the health and safety of our patients and medical staff.
Jerry interrupts.
Carter, the fire captain wants to speak with you outside.
Right. 11:15. I'll be there.
Dr. Weaver, I've looked into some of the causative factors, and I can now identify those at blame.
What are you talking about?
As you know, I was on night, and during that time, the day unit service coordinators let the central work area deteriorate.
Jerry, this was a toxic spill.
And our efforts were impaired because we were unable to locate this important manual.
He holds up the disaster manual.
I'm just saying that now that I'm back on days, you can count on a higher level of efficiency at the central work area. If you ever fainted again, I'll have things under control.
Off Weaver, cut to ambulance bay night. The ambulance bay is nearly cleared out except for a fire department utility vehicle. Daneker throws a duffel bag in the back as Carter approaches.
Dr. Carter.
Carter points to the yellow boots.
You want these back?
Nah. Souvenir. So how do you think your people handled things?
Pretty good.
No. It was a total disaster. You guys were caught with your pants down. But you personally did okay under the circumstances. I think you're the guy we should work with to plan and implement a schedule of disaster drills.
I don't have that authority. I'm just an intern.
Had me fooled.
Daneker gets into the vehicle.
You should talk with the chief of staff.
He nods and shakes hands with Carter.
Good working with you.
Daneker slams the door and pulls away. As the vehicle clears the entrance, Green appears, entering the bay with a piece of luggage over his shoulder. Hey, Carter.
When did you get back?
Came straight from the airport. On duty in 5 minutes.
Good to see you. How's your mom?
They turn and walk to the entrance. Green sees Carter's yellow footwear. Doing better. Okay, what's with the boots?
It's kind of a long story.
They enter the ER. Fade out. The end.
You guys survived.
Yay! No casualties on Table Read Tuesdays.
Oh, that was euphoric. Oh my God, it's pumping. It was so euphoric to just do that. I'm crying.
Wonderful. That's excellent. You can express more of that in our after discussion, but first we'll go around and let everybody know more about these great actors that read all these parts a lot on the fly. All right, so saving lives tonight in my top corner. Vicky, tell them more about you, what you're doing, where they can find you, all that great stuff.
Hi, I'm Vicky Dykes. I'm an actress in Central Alberta. I live in Penhold, and you can find me on Instagram. I'm YogaGramma7, and you can find me on Facebook under the name Vicky Dykes. And
Excellent, excellent. And Heather Lee Cameron.
Hi, my name's Heather Lee Cameron. I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I'm a voice actor, I'm an independent filmmaker, and I'm a family history research student from Lethbridge, Alberta. You can find my work on Heather Lee Freelancer on Facebook, and on YouTube. You can find it on the Storm and Latter-day Saints. All my personal social media links are there. And I am definitely looking for work, and I just had a lot of fun reading this. This was a little bit of an accomplishment of a childhood dream, but not complete. I'll talk more about that in the after show to give everybody time to speak. But it was just so euphoric. As I was reading, I felt tears come to my eyes because it was just absolutely euphoric.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I can't wait to hear more. Until then, we have Erin.
Hello there, Erin Lillis. You can find more about me, the voice actress, at erinlillis.com, which will currently take you to my link tree.
Woohoo! And Ashaki, tell them
All right.
what else you do and where they can find you and all that great stuff.
All right. Well, I am Ashaki Wallace, writer, voice actor, podcast host, and engineer. You can find out more about me at my website, ashakiayoka.com, and also Ashaki Ayoka Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Yeah.
All right, cool. All the socials. And
Yes,
then
all of them.
next we have Kat.
Hi, Kat Wilson from Gig Harbor, Washington. Most of the time I spend online is with Two Households in Fair Corona, a Shakespeare reading group.
Excellent, excellent. You guys go find that to enjoy more amazing reading. A lot of the members of TRT are also on that as well. So see more great acting. And we have Petra.
Hello.
Hello.
Petra Stedman, mostly findable on Twitter at Petra Stedman or Petrapedia42 on Instagram when I remember to be on there. Or here on Table Read Tuesdays, having all sorts of fun with you great guys. It's a fantastic team. We save lives. Wait, no. Oh, we read scripts. That's what we do.
Read scripts of people saving lives.
We read scripts of people saving lives. But
Maybe we save lives. Who knows?
You never know. We could be out there. So
Exactly.
I'm having like flashbacks to like helping my friends prep for their MCATs and my time in like both medicine and optometry of all things. And I'm just like, oh, I know, I recognize, the terminology. No, it calls me. Anyway, yeah, growing up watching way too many medical procedurals and everybody's like, oh, my heart's racing a little fast. I'm like, oh my God, it could be asystole. And they're like, no. Trying to diagnose AFib in 4th grade is not really something most people do.
4th grade.
But it was fun. I liked it.
Oh, you'd have been so cute, little Petra. Just
yes. And I hate
surgery on your classmates.
They're incredibly comfortable. If I can throw that out there, scrubs are great. But yeah, in the meantime, I may have to go crash in the on-call room shortly into discussion. We'll see, but I will try and hold out for you guys. But in the meantime, this was fun. And should we ever do another ER script, if it is anything to do with Elizabeth Corday, I'm gonna have to. I'll fight somebody. I will force a shiv out of an IV pole and just go on anyone else who wants to be here. But Roxanne, I would like to comment. You did a fantastic job. So nicely done. Wonderful roles by everybody tonight. It was great. So great fun. Thank you.
Indeed. And Petra says those scrubs are good. What do you think, Roger? How do your scrubs feel? Tell them about yourself.
Great job. Everyone did a phenomenal job. So great. So great. My name is Roger Anthony. I'm an actor, film TV actor, mostly writer, director, producer, singer, musician. And yeah, I love this show. A big fan of it. You can find me on Instagram, and in my bio, there's a link tree to my other social media links and reels. So hope to connect with you there.
Yeah. All right. And another person to connect with is Ari.
Hi, I'm Ari Williamson. I'm a voice actor in Calgary, Alberta. You can find me on Facebook as Ari Williamson. I'm currently looking for more projects to do. So yeah, if you're interested you're interested, look me up. This was fun.
It was. And Angelina Peterson.
Oh, hey, that's me. So that's who I am. Angel, Angelina, whatever you want to call me or something like that. I have I got to share kind of a scene that would have fit into just kidding, ER. It was a doctor scene in my script that I'm in, the hospital scene, and I shared it with the lady who I'm writing it for, and she approved. So that was good. She said she got a visceral reaction to it. Even though she wasn't there when it happened, she felt like it was very accurate and well written. So I'm excited to get it completed so we can read it and get it back to her. So
That's phenomenal. Anything else you want to say? Where to find you? What else you do?
oh goodness. Okay. I think Instagram, Angel CDP, ANGEL CDP. Pretty sure Facebook is the same.
Okay.
And
So screenwriting and video editing.
great. Oh yeah, video editing. I'm working on a few projects for other people, video editing. And one is a documentary, a feature documentary. Eventually, I'm going to be working on, as far as what I've heard, a feature film, editing that, and then I'm editing for a commercial project.
Very, very cool. All right. And for this episode, for this ER reading that we have, Dr. Corday, Roxane Armstrong.
Hi, Roxane Armstrong, actor, actress, whatever you want to say, here in Central Alberta. Totally would love to do some work for sure. I'm Roxane Armstrong on Facebook. I'm Roxane over on Instagram. I've done a lot of theater. I've done a little bit of film, flexing some improv muscles, even taking a class now. And I'll be doing the Maestro again this weekend. So it's lots of fun. Got to play improv with Vicky actually on last Thursday. So that was fun. Yeah, that's about it. Also in my other, existence, I'm a social marketer for a health and wellness company. So I spend a lot of time talking it up over on the old Book of Faces.
Excellent, excellent. And that's all of us. Find me here every week, Table Read Tuesday, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow. I have a website, jacobpatrick.com, but we'll take a break for those who need to take a break, and we'll say goodnight to those who have to go to sleep. And then in a few minutes, we'll all talk some more about the script and the characters and all that jazz. So I saw Vicky waving, so I think she's saying goodnight.
Yeah, my cold is really.
Oh no.
Oh no, I hope you feel better soon.
Yeah, get some rest.
Better.
Vicky, I just want to say you did amazing voices tonight. Your little girl,
Yes.
I wasn't looking at the screen when you did the little girl, and I was like, who's the little girl?
Yeah,
It's so good.
very
So
sweet.
good.
Thank
I had the
you.
same
Feel
thought.
better.
Please feel better soon.
that?
Need you back.
Okay. Good night.
Sleep
Good
well.
night. Feel better.
Good night, Petra and Ari, you said as well,
Yep.
Aaron? Okay.
I can stick around for a little bit. I'm just gonna have to go crash eventually. It's been a very long week.
All right, get the crash cart for Petra.
That's what the like very low caffeinated energy drink is for, because I can drink that and then crash for a little while, and it's a caffeine nap. So it's not a healthy way to live, but it's how I am. So
All right, Aaron, then we'll say goodnight to you. The rest, take a little short break, and we'll be right back, and we'll talk some
You
more.
all take care.
All
All
right,
right. Good night.
Okay. Bye-bye.
guys, in a moment. Boom, boom, boom.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. Ta-da.
Oh, are we leaving? We're taking a second intermission?
Yeah,
I think
bathroom
we're in
break,
like
snack
5
break.
minutes and then coming back if we're doing discussion.
Oh, okay.
I said, just can't wait to get back, huh, Roxanne? You're like, you were unmuted, but now you're muted.
I'm backwards.
I do hope Vicky feels better. I'm sad to see you. I wanted to hear how the experience was with you two doing improv together from both of your point of view and stuff.
Oh, it was so much fun. We had so much fun. I think she had lots of fun too. Yeah. It was a big group on Thursday, so there wasn't a whole lot of chances to play. I think everyone kind of got up like twice, but yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Awesome.
It's a great group. The Thursday night, they meet every second Thursday, and they're a really great group of people, and they just seem to be attracting more and more people. So it's really great to just hang out with like-minded people who just want to go sit, play, and the belly laughs that you get with improv are just very therapeutic.
Yes, and
how was your experience? Did you make it when you went? Did you end up?
I did go. I was a little late. I don't think quite half late, but the guy like hosting or conducting it, he was fantastic. Like just how he did everything in a positive light and got all the different games they were kind of playing in a way that didn't put anybody against each other, kind of put everybody on the same team and everybody rooting for each other. And just, it was
kind
really
of the common theme of improv. And it's really great because you celebrate people's losses. Like when you screw up, everyone cheers. It was lots of fun.
Yeah, lots of fun. All right, I think most of us are back.
Great.
So I'll say, Heather, start with all your stories and stuff you want to share.
Okay, yeah. So I officially, that I can remember, my memory of like 20 plus years ago is a bit patchy, but from what I can remember, I started watching ER about in high school, and I was in the IEP program at the time. And one of my many projects, because I had a lot of projects, including writing, one of my favorite things to do was write these mock scripts of ER. It was around the time of Malucci in season 6, and he was one of my favorite characters in addition to Carter. And because Malucci literally went to medical school in Grenada, I had literally thought about it too, even though I was in IEP and my grades weren't the best. I actually emailed St. George's for an info packet about it. And it's like the whole interaction between Malucci and Carter inspired some pretty interesting plots for scripts that involved them being more closely connected than they were in the show, not like romantically, but genetically. And, this script actually touches me a great deal because I don't know who's seen ER, but I will talk about it a bit. This is actually a journey of John Carter's growth, because this season 4 is actually John Carter's second internship, because John Carter used to be in surgery when it began. But he left surgery. He left surgery after helping a patient in the ER, and he aggravated a lot of people by doing this. And he had to fight with his supervisor about it. And then his supervisor finally said, fine, you can do what you want. And the ER wasn't willing to take him on, but the ER finally said, we're not going to pay you. And so he's really trying to learn the ropes again, having to redo an internship after spending season 3 doing a surgical internship. And he's having to be the low man on the totem pole yet again. And he thought he was doing a residency in the ER, but nope. Earlier in the season, he's told, oh, you're an intern again. Since you're in a different department, you have to start all over again at the bottom. And, he really takes a leadership role here because Green is gone to see his family. Weaver is incapacitated. So Carter just realizes, oh, nobody's going to take control. Everybody's in chaos. I have to speak up. And so he has to teach himself that it's okay to speak up. And then he shows everybody, hey, I'm the guy to look to. Even though he doesn't have the title, he ends up earning the respect of others. And it's just really euphoric to actually participate in this script in Carter's role, because I have such a respect for Carter, because he started out in ER as this little nervous guy that really didn't know his way around, and everybody just thought of him as this guy that wasn't going to make it, but he worked hard. He never gave up. He actually, in season 3, one of his fellow students actually threw himself out the L tracks and killed himself. And Carter blamed himself because he felt like he wasn't good enough of a friend. And I'm sure that would have driven many out of medical school, but Carter just dedicated himself to being a better friend and a better person from that point forward. And he really worked hard. He really grew into himself. So I just love Carter so much. And just anyway, I was at a point in my life where I didn't think much was possible except for writing ER scripts. And I tried to get my teacher to send them in, and he really didn't think it was possible, but they're fan fiction now, these scripts I wrote in high school. So to be able to participate in this little script read, it's part of a dream realized. That ER has been canceled for a long time, but just to be able to perform this in the role of Carter, one of my favorite people, it's euphoric. As we were reading, I just started feeling like I was going to cry, and I cried a little just because it felt so good.
That's awesome. I would like to point out a couple of things where you said like this, that you're all pursuing these roles of acting and stuff, like what it did for you, Heather, as a child, like made her want to maybe be a doctor and consider going down that route, like how much it can affect somebody. And
I thought about it.
Yeah, and all the other.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I didn't have the grades. I tried to have the grades, but high school was very hard and I couldn't. I was in IEP and like mixed IEP, like regular courses at the time, and I couldn't get the grades to be a doctor. So I became like a writer and an actor instead.
And like you said, now it's off the air, so this wouldn't apply, but a lot of writing programs and stuff, they want to see a spec of a current show. So what you were doing there was a good exercise and good practice. Does anyone else have some emotional connections to ER and stuff they want to talk about? No. All right, bring it, Petra.
No, just, I mean, like, I grew up watching the show. I don't think it was my first medical procedural, but it was probably the one I got the most into for the time that I watched it. You know, I watched Carter kind of grow up. I watched like the influx and, you know, ebb and flow of like a lot of these various characters. And, you know, it's like, oh, you guys, it's like, everybody shut up. I need to go watch my show. It's like, my grandmother had like her soap operas and I had like ER and a couple of other programs. And I was like, it was my show. It's like, nobody talked to me while it's on. I always made sure I did my homework so I could sit down and watch it. I was kind of in high school around the time of like Corday's kind of big thing going into like the early 2000s. And I just started high school and stuff like that. And it's just, she was just hands down my favorite character. I'm sure that like, she's probably responsible for at least a couple of people, but you know, just that whole like, oh, wait a minute. I can like, hold on. I can like girls too. Are you sure about that? I can, cause she's, I don't just like want to be her. I would love to just go and hug her for like very long periods of time and perhaps play with her hair and just tell her how pretty she is. And I'm just like, that whole like, yeah, so I'll go out there. She's kind of the reason I identify with a particular purple, pink, and blue color set. And yeah, she just is. I love her, and her characterization on this was great. And I still love that like she bought the most impractical car when she moved out here. She bought a orange convertible because she's like, oh, California, of course. And then at one point it broke down and George Clooney came to her rescue. I love that story. It's so cute. But she just developed, you know, this real sense of like confidence and kind of quiet badassery. And I love that she got picked on so much, but it's like, dude, she was the quiet British badass of the ER. And it's just like, back off my girl. I do also find it interesting that like, you have people who just like absolutely faint at the sight of blood. So they had to get used to the whole like, okay, we're going to be squirting gallons of like, you know, red corn syrup and food dye at you. You know, stuff's going to be, we're going to have somebody underneath it with like, you know, plunger and a system to kind of shoot stuff past your head. If you could just please hold still and let us squirt, fake arterial spray past your nose, that'd be great. And Laura Ennis, who played Carrie, who's like probably solid tie for my second favorite character, actually, because it's not obvious in the script, but in the show she does walk with a crutch, and it actually permanently created curvature of her spine because she constantly had to lean slightly. They couldn't get one that was like the right height for her. So she now, after like 20 years of playing Dr. Weaver, has like permanent curvature of her spine. I'm like, oh, please tell me she got that fixed. It must suck so bad. But I don't know. The show is just, it was very, if you grew up watching it, you grew up watching it. And if you got into it later, you got into it later. The new crop of interns started showing up and I was like, no, I want to stick with all my original people. I'm not a classicist, I swear. I like who I like, and I like the stories that I like. And I think some stories, as as really any show, if it goes on for too long, you have the stuff that works and the stuff that doesn't, and the people you care about and the people you don't. And I will admit, having met the actor that plays Romano, name escapes me at the moment, he is in reality a lovely man. Thank you. Yeah, he is in reality a lovely man, very sweet, but just, yeah, I think he was kind of both okay and just kind of resigned to being like, everybody hated him. When you cheer because an actor, minor spoiler for a show that's been off as long as this one has, dies by being crushed by a falling helicopter, I think that's kind of a mark about how bad your character is perceived. But I always thought he was fine. He wasn't this little. He was this evil little gerbil more than anything. You kind of just wanted to pick him up and go, okay, we're going to put you in the corner for a minute and then you can come back out and play with your friends.
Petra,
It's just like,
to be fair, he got his arm chopped off by a helicopter rotor. So no wonder.
I know, you figured that would have been punishment enough.
Now, talking about being crushed, Kat, with your experience as a
caver.
What's that?
As a caver.
As a caver and helping people, like how, from your experience, how did you feel what was written in the script and stuff?
It was interesting. I have never seen ER, but I have been in lots of confined spaces, mostly in caves, sometimes in under houses and things for rescues. And I'm 5 foot, we can't tell from the screen, but I'm 5'1", Asian female, soft-spoken voice. And when you're in an emergency situation, like a cave rescue, or in this case, confined space rescue, you have to have a different kind of voice, because especially if you want anyone to take you seriously, you got that kind of like the teacher voice, the mom voice, right? The I'm in charge voice. And I was reading through the script, it was pretty good as far as being realistic, because I have taken many people underground that are claustrophobic and are a little bit nervous. And, your job is to kind of reassure them while maintaining the whole focus. And the character of Dewey, I thought really managed to do that quite well. Same thing with Danaker in the as a hazmat officer. You're in a situation, you have to take charge. Same like with what Heather did with Carter. Carter, like I said, like Heather is describing, is not the head person, right? There is someone that's supposed to be further up in charge, and sometimes you just have to take charge. And I found that it went quite well, I think, in the writing of the script, of those characters being able to have a chance to have that voice come out onto the screen.
Well, like Carter was the baby of the ER. Everybody looked at him as the baby. Everybody hazed him as the baby. But now, everybody's got his respect. You see later on, especially when Green tells him, you set the tone before Green departs the series. And Carter's it. Everybody looks at him in a new light now. Carter is Benton's pet from now on. It's literally Benton loves Carter to death now. There's a whole new respect. Benton really got pissed when Carter left surgery, and we see that. But Benton eventually forgives Carter, and they become bros, like brothers.
Awesome. Does anyone else have some thoughts on?
I'm sorry, I'm talking so much.
No, it's great. I just also try and
my heart
here and try to
heart is yours.
But yeah, that's awesome.
I'll reiterate what I said at the beginning, that going along with Petra here, Weaver at the time, from childhood to high school to early 20s, there wasn't a lot of lesbians on TV. And being a young lesbian, I really appreciated that Carrie Weaver was portrayed on ER. And even though she was not a career lesbian, she was an older one. She was figuring herself out. I liked that storyline. I had to secretly watch ER, looking out for the Carrie Weaver scenes and being like, oh, I have no interest in this whatsoever. I just appear to be watching this, and it happens to be on. I'm not seeking it out, to hide things from people. But I really appreciated that about the show. And for me, it was like back and forth between ER and Chicago Hope at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody somewhere sometime saying something about how they don't know anything about medical stuff. The writers write it in and they learn how to repeat it and pronounce it and they sound smart. I felt very smart tonight.
You do.
Yeah. I felt like
I did not
go to school. I felt
I don't know. My only thing
lives.
about the whole the late 90s, early 2000s was not a great time to be. I'll argue this kind of across the board, was not a great time to be figuring out your sexuality, especially if you were less than heteronormative. I've noticed. You took your scraps, you said thank you, you figured it out, and you kept it to yourself until you were a little bit more confident in I'm pretty sure I like girls. And having that whole I've literally had members of my family tell me it's okay as long as it's theoretical, and I'm like or hypothetical. I'm like, I can like girls hypothetically.
Hypothetically, if I were alone in a room with her, I might want to smell her, but
yeah, it's like, no, but that was the thing. It's like it's okay hypothetically to, it's like, oh no, she's hypothetically less than straight, but other than that, it's like
less than.
It's like hypothetically she's
more than
theoretically. No, yeah, it's like it's like, no, I'm practicing, not in theory. It's like, no, it's but yeah, it's I do find it interesting that this was definitely one of the nicer, I don't want to say gentler, but definitely one of the nicer portrayals of somebody less than straight on the thing. Because like I said, the late 90s, early 2000s, you either had the gay pride poster children, which God love them for taking up that flag and running with it, but they also drew a lot of fire, and the rest of us were just kind of in the background going, that character kind of reminds me of me, or that I've kind of feel an identification with this going on. There may be some subtext.
And I remember what the years came out. So I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Just remember there was Picket Fences and there was Roseanne.
Oh yeah.
And Roseanne, there was a lesbian kiss. Someone kissed her. But it was all like, oh, she didn't like it and it was weird and then Picket Fences had a girl kiss scene during a sleepover, but they cut to the black when the kiss happened.
Yeah, that gentle fade and draw away.
Yeah, I was there like, oh shit. And then we got ER where she's doing it on screen, she's working through it.
In defense of Roseanne, there was also a gay wedding, and Roseanne also cross-dressed.
True.
Yeah. Well,
at the time, that's what I had.
Yeah,
and then subtext and things like Xena.
Surprised that Married with Children actually was a little bit nicer towards gay people than really. Al Bundy had less of a problem with gay men, and was like, he flat out to the guy who was upset that Peg was stealing his husband, was like, he's like, you cook, you like sports, I love you. I'm like, hold on a minute. Yes, I'm not supposed to be watching Married with Children, but at the same time, I'm sorry. He's okay with it? This guy who's changed the accent, he could absolutely be at some of my family reunions. This guy is okay with really? Wow. Okay. And I will admit it did help. It was weird. But no, I definitely I going off on a small side tangent, and then please somebody else grab the mic. One of my absolute favorite bloopers, and I can only find it in compilation reels, is it's after Corday and Green get together and she's telling him goodnight, and he's standing over here and Carrie's sitting down, and she very calmly, she's like, I'll see you at home, and she taps him very gently on the thing. She leans over and she's like, goodnight, Carrie, and pulls her into a kiss. And Anthony Edwards, who plays Green, is just off to the camera going, yeah, and I'm like, hell yeah. And I watched that thing on repeat when I had the DVDs. I think I watched that thing about 7 times till I burned a hole in the disc.
Well, there was also when Carrie came out to Robert, she was like, I am the chief of emergency medicine and I am a lesbian and I will come out to the ACLU, the press, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember when it was. And I'm also curious, and people, I don't know if people will get upset. How do you think that ER handled the character of Jeannie Boulay and her situation? Because I remember that Jeannie Boulay was diagnosed with HIV, I believe it was in season 3, and it was a very deep subject for the time.
Don't remember it.
Really?
Yeah, right.
He contracted it from her ex-husband.
Okay.
I never watched ER. I'm sorry.
Oh, what you missed, my God.
Well,
It
I mean, from
feels-
what you guys were saying, for every format, it shows how like
But
representation matters.
I'll do a short summary. Like Carrie really, like Jeannie had to fight for her employment, for her right to work. She implemented regulations with the help of human rights people, and she was able to keep her job after Carrie supposedly fired her for budget constraints, but she fought and she was able to continue working. And I think ER handled it really maturely.
Nice. Roxane, you had a thought?
Yes, I was just going to say ER is one of the very few shows that my mom liked because she is impossible to watch TV with. And this was one of the shows that we could watch together. She really loved this show. So I have lots of fond memories of just, there's that little family thing that we watched this together. But yeah, I think over the years, just the time period that they tackled a lot of important issues, and I loved all the characters. That's all. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. One of you were mentioning earlier how like you were saying how like the actors didn't really know, the writers wrote it and they said it. How much do you think, I'm sure they brought in experts as well, but how much do you guys think, or if you know any actual facts, that the writers had to know actual medical stuff? I'm sure by the end of this, they were pretty knowledgeable, but at the beginning, because it feels
I think they had a consultant. I'm not sure. I think they had a medical consultant. I don't remember. Petropedia, you want to confirm that?
I'm double checking right now.
Thank you.
I'm sure they did have medical consultants on all these shows, especially not just medical shows, but even crime
procedurals,
shows, procedurals, all those kind of stuff. So yeah, because I used to work in a hospital many years. I used to do what the desk clerk was, Jarvik.
Oh, okay.
The tall guy. Yeah, I used to
No, that was Jerry. Desk clerk was-
Jerry, right, Jerry. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, Jerry. I was a desk clerk at a hospital in New York for some college throughout for like almost 12 years in New York at a teaching hospital. So, well, first of all, the show ER is one of my favorite. The first season was, I did watch all the seasons, but my first was the favorite. And the first episode was my favorite because of everything that happened, especially with Carter coming out of the ER and like putting his head down. And this is very emotional thing. I can remember that just like yesterday. And it was ER was one of those shows in the early 90s, along with NYPD Blue, that, because I grew up watching sitcoms. Like I just grew up watching sitcoms, and even MASH and all those shows from the 70s and 80s. But NYPD Blue and well, this show kind of had a style that was very realistic and the actors were very, very committed to, well, all actors committed, but especially after working in the hospital, especially if you work in a hospital, well, it's heightened, the drama's heightened, but this is realistic to a degree, not like MASH, but and even MASH, there was a lot of realistic scenarios there. But I remember ER just being one of those shows that broke ground as far as being a realistic drama per
Right.
se, and I really appreciated that. I really look, it was just different from so many other shows, like from the Stephen Bosch dramas, the Law and Orders and all that kind of stuff back then. And I mean, I have tons of stories working in the hospital. I mean, it'll crack you up, and I brought dead people to the morgue. I mean, I've done everything that you can possibly imagine that I needed to do.
I do have a
What came
question.
first,
Sorry.
the show or your app, or watch the show or your job? Which came first, Roger?
Oh, my job.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? In high school, I went to an all boys prep school, and one of my, instead of taking a religion course, it was like volunteering. So I volunteered as a candy striper for one summer, delivering flowers to patients' rooms and all that kind of stuff. And then it turned out then I got a job because my mom was a nursing supervisor there.
Oh, wow.
That's how I got a job.
Very cool.
I was making $5.50 an hour, which was
back in the day.
Incredible.
Now,
that was
Roger. Was it you that mentioned Clooney, who always had his head down on ER?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to know why that was?
Because he was looking at his sides.
Yeah, he was looking at his lines. He had them taped everywhere, inside cups and inside his like half the charts were full of script notes and stuff like that, which I always found very funny.
Yeah, actors do that. Cool. Yeah, it's amazing how a lot of actors, they'll have them. I've had cue cards like, even though I might know, it's like, hey, do you want a cue card right there? Like, okay. And I ended up using it.
That's good to point out that there's always solutions, and and especially on a show like this where they got to do the turnaround or different things so much, and it's so many complicated things.
Yeah,
and the writing is great. The writing, I got to tell you, the writing, not just the medical jargon, but for me as a writer, it just everything moves, and just the emotional beats, the plots, the characters, the relationships, the conflicts. I mean, it all worked, and I didn't realize, because I didn't watch later on. Getty Watanabe from 16 Candles. Like, me love you. The Asian character in 16 Candles, he was on the show, and John Stamos and
Long Duck Dong.
Long Duck Dong, right? Long Duck Dong. Some really cool people were on for a while, for a number of episodes. So it's kind of cool to see people's careers as actors. You see them like doing maybe a season arc. And then they're like, oh wow, they're on blah 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 show. So it's kind of cool to see an actor's career go forward.
I know you had a question, Heather. Then I wanted to see if Shaki, if you had anything you wanted to say after that.
Well, I was just wondering, because this ER kind of reminds me a little bit of Third Watch. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of Third Watch in here.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
All the same shows at the same time.
Like, it literally does. It has the same type of pace and the same type of realness to it, and it just does. And
all right. So if you guys like ER, you want to watch it?
I literally used to watch that Third Watch in high school and college, and it was just very therapeutic, as was this. I wish we had access to Third Watch scripts, because I'd be all over that.
I'd love to, in fact, I would love to pitch, or I had an idea of writing a medical procedural in New York, because I lived that whole life, and I've seen a lot of shit, and I'm sure there's other people that have written pilots like that. I mean, you have Chicago Hope, obviously. You had the ER, but
It's like the vast majority of them are set in Chicago or Los Angeles, so New York would
Right,
definitely be
right.
a little bit.
and then you have
Nice
St.
to
Elsewhere.
Chicago.
St. Elsewhere that was in Boston.
Yeah,
before.
New York's actually surprisingly rare for medical dramas, which I found kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Shaki, did you have any thoughts? Anything you want to
Oh.
share?
Yeah, well, so I've never seen ER. I was a very little kid when it came out. So it just like, yeah, I think the first medical show I really watched was probably Scrubs. So that would probably be my age demographic. But with that said, yeah, I really enjoyed how well written it is and how thorough it is with like the medical terminology and procedures, because I am familiar with the medical world. So it was. And then when I was really little, I always thought I would be a doctor. So it was fun to actually play a doctor, even though I did not become a doctor. But yeah, it was very interesting. And hearing everyone talk about their experiences back in the 90s, like watching it and how it meant to all of you, it just like, yeah, I wish I had seen it before doing this.
Well, it's available for viewing on Prime Video or DVD.
Yeah.
What I actually found pretty cool about this is like I was reading the script earlier and I had to stop because I was getting too stressed out because it was written too well with all the stress going on and everything that's happening and everybody to move everybody there, like, so that was well done. And that was interesting. I thought that like I watched a clip from it and I realized that like there's action description in the script, but there is not a whole lot. And there is a lot of choreography that went into those scenes in that show. Just moving everybody around and how they had to fall to hit people and vomit and like special effects and that's none of that's in the script.
I mentioned vomiting in the script.
Well, a little bit.
Vomits in her mask.
Yeah.
Weaver does at the beginning, and
oh, are you referencing like that 5-minute teaser that's on YouTube of like this episode? Because
probably,
I think yeah. So because I had never seen this, I had went and like looked and saw that like 5-minute teaser, and I just thought like the camera movement and the choreography was just so amazing because there was a lot happening. I think in the script it mentioned that like gangbang dialogue or something. So that's when I was like, maybe that's why
gangbangers. Gangbusters,
yeah,
not gangbangers.
Yeah, that's
very different meaning.
Gangbusters.
I thought it just meant all at once.
Gangbusters, my bad. Gangbusters dialogue. So I was like, maybe that's why they interpreted that as like that very fluid, very intense, and it like heightens like the scene with the camera movement. And like it was excellent choreography. So yeah, it was just
do you
like
guys remember the live ER episode?
Yes.
I had to do it twice.
That was shortly after him. That was shortly after Dr. Green's being attacked in season 3, and Dr. Green was still suffering the effects of it. His wrist was in a cast, and they literally filmed live, and they were trying to get him to talk about the attack, and he wouldn't, and they kept bothering him, so they just basically filmed around the ER, and Dr. Green finally traded his story so they wouldn't use footage of him berating Carter for something trivial. Like, because Carter had accidentally caused a patient's death, and Green berated him for it on camera, and Green was like, do you want me to talk about my experience? Get rid of the footage of me berating Carter.
You have a good memory, Heather. That's very specific. On that live episode.
It was broadcast twice, once on the East Coast and one on the West. Yes.
And then had to do it. There's a lot of choreography in that. I remember. I don't think I even saw it, but I remember how
and
crazy it was.
That was the beginning. That was when Elizabeth Corday first joined the cast, because she was looking for the trauma room, and she was dressed in a nice outfit, and
then she went on to be the badass Brit of the ER. So they did actually mostly pull from medical textbooks and terminology books. They didn't really have an on-set consultant until a few seasons in. What they mostly did was go around and talk to people who worked in the medical field and start kind of like the same way that like Law and Order has ripped from the headlines things, which I still find it hilarious. There was once a case, one of my cousins was actually out there. Something was purported to have happened and it actually didn't happen. It had only happened on an episode of Law and Order, but somebody was like, oh, it's ripped from the headlines. It must have actually happened. And I'm like, no. So this was kind of interesting because what they would do is kind of in the same way, they would go around and talk to people in Los Angeles area hospital wards and stuff like that with like permission to just reference certain things that happened, like the baby who swallowed the coat hanger. And in the episode, it's extremely graphic and like a lot of stuff starts happening. In reality, they basically just were able to tweak the angle of it and pull it straight out because it wasn't in any dangerous position. It was just kind of blocking. And I'm like, but it was little stuff like that. It's like, okay. And the one thing that I found hilarious as far as thing goes is Noah Wyle, when he was doing the Carter's African storyline, the real on-set medic passed out due to the heat, and Wiley, who had been filmed pretending hundreds of simulated medical procedures over the course of his time on the show, was actually able to insert an IV effectively and hook the medic up to a real saline drip until help arrived. I'm like, that's just that is the definition of muscle memory. I love
That's
it. It's
impressive.
so good.
Anyway, back to the live episode. It is called The Ambush because I looked it up because I can't remember everything. It's the first episode of the 4th season, and the county general staff was filmed by a PBS documentary film crew. And Dr. David Morgenstern, the chief of surgery and head of the ER, suffered a heart attack during that. And yeah, basically it shows the crew, the ER staff being filmed, and a lot of interesting things happen. And yeah, it's an episode worth seeing, and it was broadcast twice. And yeah, and it received 4 nominations at the 50th Primetime Emmy Awards, winning 1.
Excellent. Roxanne, did you have something you wanted to say?
I was just going to say, I watched this episode and I was continually surprised at how many of the small parts that were played by actors who continued to do a lot of work. Like Eva Mendes was in this episode. And a lot of other actors whose faces I know, but names I don't. But I think that was quite common throughout the series, that a lot of the actors that were in parts of this continued to do a lot of work. And I just love seeing that.
Yeah, that is awesome. Ashaki, you have to take off. So
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. We look forward to you. Yes.
Nice to meet you, Ashaki.
You're available for the next couple of weeks, right?
Yes, I am. Yes. I'm available for like the next 3 more weeks or 4 more weeks, something like that. But yeah, all right. Have a great night, everyone. It was a lot of fun. And see you next Tuesday.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And next week is actually, it's next week that we're doing Weird, right?
Yes.
Yay! I'm excited. So on that note, otherwise I'm just going to devolve into like simping for my various favorite actors and characters. I'm going to go crash for a little while.
Okay.
Much love to everybody. I will be here next week.
Take care.
What, Jacob, you were saying something?
Oh, no, I was going to talk about the Weird script, but.
Oh, go ahead. I can.
Well, I was going to say, was it you that submitted that? And it is from the Blacklist, and it's asterisk Weird. So, yes. I was going to see if there's any more you want to say. Yeah, we're reading an unproduced script, and yeah, from the Blacklist, none of us have seen it,
which is hopefully out there. So I think of the ones that I suggested. I'm definitely glad that we're doing this one. It's I'm looking forward to seeing reactions to it. I'm not sure who you're going to cast for various parts if anybody's submitted it. Because again, it's not.
Since you know the script and stuff and interest in that, if you want to help with the casting of it, or you have certain people you think would be good for certain roles, please, it's welcome.
Okay. Oh yeah. I was gonna actually give it another read through. Probably sometime this week. I can shoot you notes or something if you have an idea. But I'd say just whoever comes into it and wants like X character versus Y character. Otherwise, just jumble. I can give you like notes on the characters. But yeah, it's
We might be casting tonight though.
Huh?
Okay.
Okay. In that case, get to it. Yeah, I trust you guys. I will.
I
yeah,
I'll
submit
rest so you don't get too weird yourself.
I'm always good with action descriptions. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well,
whoever you guys want to cast me as is fine. I do really like the lead, but I'd be okay if somebody else played him. And other than that, yeah, action descriptions are always interesting because this one's got some stuff to it. So looking forward to it. And hopefully we will see you next week. With that, I'm off to the on-call room to take a quick nap between shifts. Good night.
Good night.
And on that, with everyone getting tired and stuff, anything else people want to say
gotta
before
go.
we say goodnight? Yeah,
I'm
it
off
feels
to
like a good
I'm
time to
gonna,
say goodnight.
I'm gonna get going myself. So
Yeah.
thank you, everyone.
All right. Well, then
I'm
we'll
on
call it.
Everyone.
Yep. Good night, everyone.
The shift
All
is
right.
over. All right.
It's been a lovely evening. I'm so glad that I got to participate this, and hopefully I'll be able to be in a real-time medical show one day.
Yes.
And I hope we impressed you, all those who have been in ER and all those who will possibly watch this when I promote about it on social media. Especially Noah Wiley, I hope I did your character proud.
Well, very sweet. All right. I'm sure you did. Good night.
Good night.
Bye,
I hope we did all the ER alumni proud. We love you. Thank you for bringing us this golden gift that ER was for 15 seasons.
Wow.